Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back with another match of the Challenge Cup. It is the quarter-final taking place between two URC sides, Edinburgh and the Bulls. It's going to be a very important one. The Bulls have come into this contest ranked a little bit higher in terms of the overall URC table, but Edinburgh are at home. And that can be a massive advantage this type of competition. Looking through at their starting lineup, it will be Fenter on the front row alongside Ewan Ashman and Sebastian at number 3. Skinner and Grant Gilchrist will make up the locking duo with Jamie Ritchie, Hamish Watson and Bradbury. As the number 8, Ben Bellacott alongside Ross Thompson will be the 19 combo. Lang and Curry in the midfield with Ross McCann out on one wing, Darcy Graham out on the other, and Wes Hewson at number 15. For the Bulls, they have once again gone a little bit experimental, but a few more experienced heads across the lineup as well. Martin Zima, Aka Whanamerva and Wilco Lowe as the front row. Ruanoki alongside JF Van Heeren in the locking duo with Marcel Kurtzia, Kirsten at 7 and Cameron Honeycomb. He can be an absolute game changer. Of course, we did see the Lions get themselves the win, Edinburgh get themselves the win over the Lions last week. They've already beaten a South African side, but in some of the elements where the Lions were lacking, I feel like this young Bulls side may just have that little bit of an advantage and maybe an edge. It will be very intriguing to see how they go. Zach Berger and Keegan Johannes will be the 19 combination with Harold Foster and David Creel in the midfield. Sravino Jacobs, Sergil Peterson and Devon Williams is there at number 15. We just see the two sides warming up in the background. The Bulls at the moment wearing their training kit in red. Edinburgh looking very physical throughout the warm-up as well. Looking through at the chat, ladies and gentlemen, we have got, as Will Jordan says, Noodles. He must have clicked enter before he finished the statement. We have got who's going to win this. I'm reading the Bulls. I concentrate on the URC, not this. Is this correct? Edinburgh at home to win for me. It's a tricky one because, you know, you've got a side in the Bulls who have said that their focus is elsewhere, but I think they've made it further in the Challenge Cup than maybe they first anticipated. But the thing is, with the amount of games that they're going to be playing for this Champions Cup / Challenge Cup competition, they might as well have put the momentum and effort into the Champions Cup. Because if they had done so, they may have made it that little bit further. But for now, I mean, they're getting the opportunity to give those younger guys a bit of a chance, rest those older veterans for the upcoming URC matches as we get closer to the playoffs afternoon. I should just get this game in before I go on the road, or down the road on the piss. Says Bleshin there. Where is this being broadcast in New Zealand? Says Novmum. The easy answer is it's actually not. What is happening for the coverage-wise, for me anyway, I've got a VPN switched on so that I'm in Australia. Then from there, I've gone on EPC TV, I believe it is called, which is the European Champions Cup type of thing. And I've paid $16.20 New Zealand to be able to watch this game live. So she's a bit of a pay-per-view type of situation, but you will need a VPN to be able to do so. I don't see why any team apart from Leinster are concentrating on the URC because there is only one winner there. That's what people seem to think most years. And every year so far in the URC since its existence, it's been won by a side other than Leinster. So, like, Leinster may focus on it each and every year, but they've never lifted the cup for the URC comp. We've seen Munster do it. We've seen Glasgow do it. We've seen the Stormers do it. Leinster, they want to add their name to that list. And I mean, after their two games that we've seen just recently, the domination that they were able to have over Glasgow as well as the Harlequins, it's looking like it's pretty likely they will be able to do so. Just got back in Cork. Was in Dublin for Leinster versus Glasgow. Brilliant night. Leinster were brilliant. Hopefully Munster win tonight. Says Patrick. And that's the thing. If Munster win, they are just creating the ultimate underdog story at the moment for that side of the draw, because not only have they beaten La Rochelle, but then they would have beaten Bordeaux, another side that would be considered relative favourites for this comp. And then after that as well, just to add some more onto the top, they would have to beat another French side to be able to get through. There's a rave from the Spazadaza. Says Noodles. Kiwi Lads, I saw you comment on the live stream last night. Says Todd. That is true. I popped in because, of course, he popped into this one, so I thought it's only fair that I come over and say hello. How can we watch it? Says Dylan Ritchie. Depends on whereabouts you are in the world. In South Africa, I believe it is on DSTV. I actually looked around quite a bit to see what my best options were, but here in New Zealand, I'm on the European Champions Cup / Challenge Cup website, and I've bought a match pass for $16.20 New Zealand, which is about 160 Rand, just to be able to watch this one game. Is Will Jordan play? And he sadly is not, but I'm sure he would tear it up in the URC as well as the Champions Cup. A little bit similar to what we're seeing from another All Black in Geordie Barrett. And we have there, Hamish, give us the prediction. Well, Edinburgh come in as favourites, but I don't think that there's that much splitting these two sides. Like, we look through at recent form, Bayonne, they were defeated by the Bulls by 10 points in the round of 16. So it does mean, as you can see there, $1.72 to $2, not exactly a huge amount in it. And then next week, the week after, a couple tough games for the Bulls in the URC, which is why we're sending over a little bit more of an experimental side here. Rest the players for those matches, both away from home as well, though. So pretty tough finish to the URC comp for this Bulls side. In terms of Edinburgh, they were able to get themselves the win over the Lions, which for some reason is not there at the top. In fact, I know why. It's because I got the wrong one up. There we go. Edinburgh versus the Lions was a 12-point difference. Edinburgh 24 points to 12 for the victors. I should also mention Super Rugby Pacific. The match has just about come to a close between the Brumbies and the Reds. It looks like the Brumbies are going to get out of that game with a victory, so a massive one away from home. That also creates a bit more of a gap for those New Zealand sides trying to break their way into the top six. But the Sharks and Zebre, the next two games for Edinburgh, taking place in the future. These are also the other three Challenge Cup quarterfinals that we will be seeing later on. Ospreys versus Lyon, Connacht versus Racing 92, and then tomorrow morning, New Zealand time, Bath taking on Gloucester. As you can see, all three home sides come in as the favourites, which is a little bit similar to what we saw for this game as well. We have got there, it might be a thumping game. Hope it isn't one-sided, says Ruth. And also we have got there's Portugal also game. In Portugal, also game is not for free. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame because the Champions Cup around the world seems to be a lot more accessible than the Challenge Cup, which I guess is understandable because it is the bigger comp per se. But I would have thought that that would be your perfect opportunity to make the Challenge Cup maybe free to air in some locations. Definitely the playoff games. You know, if they were being streamed live on YouTube, I think they'd have a massive audience for those ones. Hope it's one-sided. Go the Bulls, says Charles. Have you ever been to Edinburgh? It's one of the most beautiful cities. It's like history and old history buildings. It's the best, says Jack. I have not been to Scotland, but I would like to one day. That would be pretty awesome to go to Murrayfield. I know that one of my classmates recently, back when I was at school, she went to a game at Murrayfield. I think it was the Scotland versus Italy match, or in fact, it might have been the November internationals last year. Who did Scotland play last year, ladies and gents? All I know is she went to one of the games, and it wasn't one of the main ones that people were talking about, but it did look like pretty awesome atmosphere. I've just seen another try being scored by Corey Tour and the Brumbies, so they have scored the last one of that match. And this game here only 5 minutes away from starting up, ladies and gentlemen, up the Magpies, says Todd. And it might be a thumping game. Hopefully it isn't one-sided, says Ruth. I really hope it's not a one-sided affair, mainly because this is one of the more expensive games we've had to buy on the channel, so I really hope it delivers and it does at least, you know, have a bit of back and forth action between the sides. I honestly do think these teams are quite evenly matched, and it could come down to the benches in terms of who is able to make the most impact. As you can see there, for Edinburgh, some great options. Pierre Skurman, Dave Cherry. They've also got Ali Price off the bench, a lot of experience for him. Mosisi Tuipulotu in that number 23 jersey for the Bulls. Johan Robela, Marco van Staden, Kanan Moody, just to add a few Springboks into the mix. So I do think that bench-wise, I'm tempted to say the Bulls have the better bench, but at the same time, like, there are still some great Scottish internationals coming off the bench for Edinburgh there as well. But yeah, the Brumbies winning over the Reds, 39 points to 26. So they will receive the 4 points from that game. The Reds will receive 0. And hi all, Hamish sounding great as usual. Hamish, thank you for the live stream. No worries at all. After South Africa leave Super Rugby, I don't watch it anymore. Sorry, Hamish, says Charles. It's okay. I know that a lot of people did decide to stop watching it after that point. This year, it's been more competitive than it's ever been. I believe it was after 6 rounds, every single side had a win, which was the first time since, I think it was 1995, that the game has been that competitive in Super Rugby. The odds are too close for this game. Edinburgh should be around $1.30 at home, and the South African side who traditionally don't travel well, especially in a competition they don't care about, Edinburgh will win. But that's the thing. It's how it looks, right? But then every once in a while, they don't play like that, the Bulls. They sometimes pull one out that no one expects. And with this game in Edinburgh, I feel like it would be a little bit different in France. But the thing is, they won in France. They were able to beat Bayern, and they came in as even bigger underdogs heading into the match. The problem with your suggestions about the Challenge Cup requires a rugby organisation to be forward-thinking. Big shot early, but yeah, unfortunately, they are in that scenario of, like, I would rather have people watching rugby than people not able to watch a game because they either can't find it or can't afford it. I feel like the more eyes, the better. So I don't know why they don't try these things, even if it's just like the highlights. The European Challenge and Champions Cup website or the YouTube channel used to do all the highlights after the games. Now they don't even post any. They do top 10 moments that we saw from a random player, and that's all they've been posting. So, that's another thing that doesn't put eyeballs on the competition. Ross McCann, looking forward to seeing that man in action out on that left wing. I think the last time we actually called a game with Ross McCann in it, it would have been back in the Sevens days when he was playing. Edinburgh are a much better team than Bayern, says Jack Lewis, and there is no denying that. The Lions, they were relatively competitive with them last week. But this Bulls side, it's whether or not they can get it right. They are right next to Murrayfield for this matchup. I believe it is Hive Stadium. They are just showing that starting lineup for the Bulls yet again here as well. We have got Vermeulen and Go Boys from Pretoria Bulls. And also, are you shocked about the rice price in Kazakhstan? I haven't seen it yet. I have to talk to Sasha Bowen-Cohen about it. That's his name, isn't it? Oh, Borat. But now, looking through at the lineups, ladies and gentlemen, Edinburgh. They have got Fenter, Ashman, and Sebastian in the front row. Skinner and Gilchrist in the locking duo with Richie, Watson, and Bradbury as the number 8. Bellicott and Ross Thompson as the 19 combination. Lang and Curry in the midfield. And then on the back three, it will be Ross McCann, Darcy Graham, and Wes Hoosen to really add that impact for the Bulls away from home. They are missing Willy LaRue. They are missing a few of those other experienced kids for this side, but they've still put together what I would consider a pretty strong lineup. Martin Zima, Akafana Merva, and Wilco Lowe as the front row. Nokia and Van Heeren in the locking duo with Kutsia, Kirsten, and Heineken in that number 8 jersey. Zach Berger and Keegan Johannes in the 19 channel. Foster and Creel in the middle, and then Jacobs alongside Pedersen and Devin Williams as the back three. Yeah, got there anyone here? I know if Brisbane's one away from home in Brisbane. If they did, they're making a heck of a start or making a heck of a statement, says John. I will offer anybody 4-1 for the Bulls victory. Hi, Hamish. Hi, everyone. Go the Bulls. And the Bulls have miracle gains. Hamish is right. Saw them pull some blinders out of nowhere. And most of the time, it's when they're ruled out. It will be a game that they've put together a bit of a makeshift lineup and people go, well, they've got no chance. But then they just pull it out of nowhere and have a brilliant game. And that is the risk when you face a side like the Bulls, because if you go into it too complacent, that's when they beat you. And sometimes they beat sides relatively comfortably. So, I'm very curious to see how this one goes. It looks like the bagpipes are playing. Both sides just about to make their way out onto the field. Big smile on the face of Martin Zima there. This is a matchup that we see often in the URC, but in a Challenge Cup, it just feels like it hits that little bit different, of course. And Bulls by 9. They're looking good, says Blues Nate. And Beefy's Bulls Delish. And also, come on, people, hit the likes button, please. Says Roof. Yeah, anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is greatly appreciated. You all being here for these matches. This one just next to Murrayfield. Foster having a prayer before this match starts. Thing is, though, for the Bulls to win this, they don't really need a miracle. They just need to play well. Ireland plus Argia plus Barrett equals 60-0. Says Albert, yeah, across their last 2 games, they've managed to get themselves 114 points, Leinster, and haven't conceded a single point in over 200 minutes of rugby. Let that sink in. 200 minutes, a game of rugby is, if it's all going well, an hour 20. Why is Villy on the picture, says Martin, because Willy LaRue was just easy. I already had him from the URC, so I just decided to go again. The other player that I was going to look at was Kanan Moody, but then I just went Willy LaRue because he kind of matched Hamish Watson in terms of the same kind of angle and pose, so it just made sense. Edinburgh and the Bulls are also in the URC, says Novmum. They certainly are, yes, and it is kicked off by Edinburgh. Ball is dropped by the Bulls, but it does go backwards. still in their possession. The thing is, Edinburgh here, they will want to start this match well. They'll know that the Bulls, if you give them half a sniff and they are still in the contest heading into the second half, they can all of a sudden fire. Zach Berger going to the short side off to Marcel Kurtzia. Hey, let's go. Here we go again. And also we have got there, boom, smackdown time, says Ruth. Now Zach Berger, once again, will be able to roll this one back. They are inside of the 22 at the moment. Now, from the looks of the turf, rather than the Murrayfield field that is grass, this looks like 4G turf, or the Astro turf. So this will be a bit of a painful experience for the players, I would think. But that is one thing that Edinburgh will have as a massive advantage. They have played on this type of turf many times before. Going for the kick and behind here from Ross Thompson, and he's kicked it out on the full. Bit of an interesting choice there, trying to play territory, and it has gone extremely wrong. It means that Edinburgh now consider the line out round the halfway line. I've said it is the perfect day for knockout rugby, and this is not the only game that we get to see in terms of quarter-final matches. Champions Cup coming just around the corner between Bordeaux and Munster. We are also covering that one on the channel. I think the Bulls are in for this EPCR game because they realise they can't beat Leicester in the URC final in Dublin. I assume that is Leinster rather than Leicester, but that's the thing. Like I mentioned earlier on, they mentioned right near the start that Jake White, he had no concerns about the Champions Cup. He was more focused on the URC, but now they've actually made it quite far in the Challenge Cup, and now it's starting to mean something to the players. You know, they aren't just going to Scotland for the sake of losing. Like, they want to go out and win. We have good there. It certainly is 4G. My son plays on it and doesn't hate it, says Fleshen. That's probably one of the positive reviews we've heard about it. I know for the sevens, they always have all the strapping on the elbows and the knees. Although, is there a big difference between the Astro turf and 4G turf, or is it relatively similar? And the Bulls, says Anamart, and there as well. It's actually going to be a scrum feed here for Edinburgh after the line out of the Bulls did not quite go to plan. JP Fori, says Anna, and also trophy is there for the Bulls to win. Yeah, we did see the Sharks win it last year, and that was only the only trophy that we saw for a South African side. So in the final, the Bulls, they were defeated by Glasgow, kicked them behind from Darcy Graham, curling towards the touchline, charge down, kick there, chance for Edinburgh, goes into the in-goal area. And this one will be now a goal line dropout. Cameron Honeycomb back. Sorry, Leinster, I mean, but you got it, Hamish. Says Albert. And the Bulls to start changing up or charging up the guts. Says Matthew there, Keegan Johannes. At that time, it would have been Stravino Jacobs under huge pressure. And I think he's under quite a bit of pressure to keep his spot in the starting lineup, because he's had a few rougher games as of late. All right, building up some speed here comes Jamie Ritchie. Shot on him by Marcel Kurtzia. Edinburgh now attacking from inside of the Bulls half. Short ball from Thompson goes across there. Beautiful stuff here from Edinburgh, and they will score the first try of the contest. James Lang goes through, and they have cut the Bulls' defence open. And that is a very good start. They put the pressure on by charging down the kick, making it difficult for the Bulls to get that territory, and then just some classy passing, linking up well with the pass from Valakot, who got the assist, but the try goes to James Lang. And Edinburgh, within 5 minutes, have got their first try. What a try, says Jack. Yeah, just very nice play. Linking up perfectly, and about 3 or 4 players all ending up in the right position at the right time. And what a try, says Jack. And nice try from Edinburgh. Let's go. I wonder badly Jake would want Arge back at the Bulls, says Albert. Is this... Oh, I like this orange kit. Do you? It's certainly bright. I'm not sure about the orange posts, I'll be honest, but I don't mind the kit. That kick has gone over, and that will make the score now 7-0 in favour of Edinburgh. So definitely the start that they would have been after. And that's the thing. If they can put together enough points on the board early, that's going to be able to pretty much take this side out of the game in the Bulls. They have to get that lead, though. Because if they do, they'll have a very happy day. Up the Jocks, says Duncan. It's going to be kicked off now by the Bulls. Currently 5 minutes in. And looking for a nice angle there for Edinburgh to exit. And it does go into touch. From the angle of the camera, it seems like maybe they are on the roof with it just because he wasn't able to go down low enough to see where that ball actually went out. It's a shame they play at this ground behind such a nice stadium. Seems silly, says Jack. It does a little bit. Like, you've got Murrayfield sitting right there, probably empty at the moment, unless, of course, it's the Scottish Women's Six Nations. If they got a match there soon, I'd assume maybe that's why they're off on this field, as well as the fact that it is just their home one, but that's going to be close to the sideline. The ball just rolls over the edge. Straight away, we are seeing the camera is not enjoying the near side of the field. Ball's only warming up, just waiting for a 5-metre scrum, says Albert. But the thing is, the 5-metre scrum can only save them so many times. They have to find other ways of scoring. Because, I mean, in their game of the URC, I believe it's that same weekend where they won by 1, as well as the Sharks, their scrum was what got them over the line. But in this game, definitely if Edinburgh are willing to run this ball, they're going to have to find other avenues of a try-scoring method. And this looks like a good backline just about to shape up. Harold Foster tackled about 40 metres out from the line. Manages to get the knees down. I don't know whether or not the ref called that as a maul. In fact, he did. And now it's going to be the scrum feed for Edinburgh. Her commentary is keeping us all entertained. I want to play rugby, but never have. I'm too old now. I'm 33, says Jack. Touch rugby could be an option. I know that, like, depending on where you are in the world, there are actually quite a few, like, casual touch rugby leagues you could look at possibly having a crack at. I think the oldest player at our local club is about 50-something, though, so you certainly could still have a crack if you really wanted to. 6.5 minutes through this contest. Edinburgh have got themselves another scrum. Well, that last try off Edinburgh, says Christo, and paddle is a great option for rugby, says Albert. And ball is just about put in. Yes, it is, and it is a big push from the Bulls, but the ball pops out the back for Edinburgh. Thompson goes across there again, cuts through the gap. Chance again. Curry goes across. This is just looking very dangerous, although that time there was a knock on from Edinburgh. I believe it was Bradbury. That's a great kick from the Bulls. Getting it into the 22. Sergio Peterson, one of the quickest players around. Bit of a mistake at the back from Ross Thompson. Knocked on by Berger. In fact, there's going to be... Oh! The ref was just about to blow his whistle. Then he decided he wanted to go play on. And then Roa Nokia was just about to score it. And then the ref said, we'll actually go back. So I think that was because of a double knock on. And 33, you are cooked, mate, says Giles. And that was close, says Anthony. Very close. Just a bounce of the ball not working out for Sergio Peterson. Oh, TMO check here, though. This might be something a bit more severe than just a scrum feed. Ref looks out of breath. That was almost a full field run that he had to make there. Knock on by blue on the 22 is what the referee has just said. That is Zach Berger. I believe that they are mentioning about. ARF paid for, says Charles. Yeah, not too sure yet. We're going to see it here. So Ross McCann went for the dive. Then Berger, I believe, knocked it on. Now, Roa Nokia had the chance to be able to score it, and in the end, he did still put it down after, just in case. Oh, okay, no, they've found the angle now. So Zach Berger made the tackle. He doesn't get back to his feet, and he does slap that out of the hands. That might be bad for Zach Berger here. This is probably not a penalty try. I think maybe penalty or yellow card. Yellow card would be more than sufficient, I would say, but I would just have it as a penalty. So, yeah, he didn't quite get behind the hindmost foot and then slapped it away. Okay, this looks like the TMO is struggling to find the angles that he's after. Here it is. Yeah, he slaps it out of the back of the breakdown. Oh, they're showing the wrong angle again. It's looking like it's going to be a hard day for the TMO to find the ones that he's after. So Edinburgh wants to run the Bulls off their feet today, says Albert. Not necessarily. I think that is just when Edinburgh are playing their best rugby, when they're able to get that through the back line. I mean, we've seen how crisp some of their passing has been just at the start of this game. So that's just their plan, pretty much. Just play their natural game and don't let this occasion of playing for a quarterfinal get to them. Cynical play, says Anthony. Okay, it sounds like it is at least going to be a penalty against Zach Berger, and the referee, okay, he's not playing in his pocket yet. And yeah, they're saying yellow card by the sounds of it for Zach Berger. The last thing that the Bulls wanted early on in this matchup. Keep your heads, Bulls, says Ruth. Right, deliberate knock on from 9 blue. It is cynical, says the referee. Deliberate knockdown on the Bulls, 100%, says Jack. So it will be the yellow card of Berger within the first 10 minutes of this contest. In Edinburgh now, they could take the 3 or they could take the risk. And now all the players have to run about 60 metres back down the field to be able to get to the right mark. But yeah, just a silly play from Zach Berger. I'm not 100% sure what he was thinking in terms of what it was going to bring for the side. And now Thompson will be able to kick this one towards the touchline. Edinburgh have one of the best rolling mauls, says Jack Lewis. And the starting jersey, they've got Ewan Ashman off the bench, Dave Cherry. There was a time where that man wouldn't go a game without scoring a rolling maul try. Deliberate knock-ons puzzle me. Glasgow conceded a yellow and a penalty try and one shot last night, ended the game. And I did feel like that one was a little bit harsh because they did actually have cover for that one, but they said no cover whatsoever, so that is why it became a penalty try. But they are a bit of a tricky one to referee, and depending on what the refs feel was the action. That is well defended there by the Bulls, but the ball is available now for Edinburgh. And off to the left-hand side, they've been told to use it now, pumping the legs again from Bradbury. Only 5 metres out from the line. Valakot goes across to a Ewan Ashman who was curving around the back of the breakdown. They have got numbers left, dropping their head, and driving was Jamie Ritchie. Now pick and go from Boanfenta. Hamish Watson playing half, decides to pass it across to Grant Gilchrist. Oh, it's gone backwards. Valakot with a sniping run gets very close to the try line. In fact, he's reached out. He is celebrating it, but they will have to check this one. Remember, Bismarck Duplessis says Albert, some Bulls players have a history of losing their heads under pressure. And he wasn't thinking, says Fleshin. And too harsh, never a try, instead kills off the game, says Jimbo. And looks short, says Anthony, although we're not talking about Valakot's height. We're talking about his try, and that is short of the line as well. Unless, of course, that one slid a bit further. He definitely celebrated it like he scored it, but I think the reality is he was a bit short of the line. They need clear and conclusive evidence. I don't think the angle that we've got actually shows us too much here. He does the step, then he tries to reach out. Oh, that side of the ball was very close. But I think it's just short of the line. Like they've just said, from that angle, they cannot prove it. They seem to be lacking the angles, though, as we learnt earlier on for that Zach Berger yellow card. Our reality is you're a bit short, says Albert. And tough one, Bull, says Roof. But it does seem like this one will be disallowed, or at least it should be. There is no other angle. Okay, the on-field decision is no try, and he's got no evidence to be able to overrule it, which I believe is the right decision here for Valakot. I'm not sure whether the run from the 9 at the big Bulls forwards was the best choice. But it does now mean, since that ball went over, or at least it was short, so it's the equivalent of a knock-on, I guess. Valakot can't quite believe it. I'm not too sure where he thought the line was, but it wasn't under the ball. It looks like it's going to be now a Bulls scrum only 5 metres out from the line due to it being the equivalent of a knock-on, with them not being able to score it. The biggest thing was, as soon as he thought he scored it, he got up to his feet and jumped around rather than just setting the breakdown just in case he was short. So he had pure confidence, but he was completely wrong. Now 9 minutes into this contest, still another about probably 8 minutes of the Bulls yellow card. This will be the chance for the Bulls to really show what their Bulls scrum can do. Let's be glad the B-team camera crew is on duty today, says Albert. Although that's the thing, when you've got Murrayfield next year, this stadium, of course, isn't going to have those same angles available as those big, tall stadiums behind them. So, in a way, the players probably, I guess, just know that sometimes you're not going to get the angle that you're after. Oh, it's gone down, and the free kick goes the way of the Bulls. Not exactly a bad result there for Edinburgh, as it means that the Bulls will have to kick it back to Edinburgh in this case. They can kick it into touch, but it will still be an Edinburgh line-out. We have the Edinburgh must eat more pep, says Anthony. And come on the Bulls, time to score, says Matthew. In there too. Devin Williams just taking his time to line up this kick towards the sideline. You're watching the game too, Bulls and Eden. Says Blues Nate, good kick. Downfield from Williams. Keegan Johannes is now playing as the 9 just in this scenario. He is the starting 10, but can also play 9 when needed. Ewan Ashman, line out on the halfway line for Edinburgh, thrown into the front, nicely claimed. They will look to shift it away to the right-hand side. A little bit of a handling error there from Bradbury, but he is able to regather it. Bellicott on across to the left. Thompson finds Vez Hooson in the middle of the field. Darcy Graham looks to go towards the outside. He's almost driven into touch. You're watching the game too, Bulls and Eden. And also, please hit the like button and subscribe to the Kiwi Lad. Smash that like button, says Roof. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is greatly appreciated you all being here. It's the only game of the weekend that we've had to pay for as a pay-per-view situation due to it not being shown here in New Zealand. I'm currently in Sydney, according to my VPN. Yeah, I've learned that it is actually quite expensive for a one-time match fee rather than just a season pass. Going off to the left-hand side here for Edinburgh. Jamie Ritchie, quick hands, very close to the sideline, but keeping the ball alive was Matthew Curry. And hey, Hamish says, Stahlberger, welcome in. You have been doing extremely well. Oh, a little bit of a counter-ruck there from Marcel Kurtzia, now kicking him behind from Velicott. Just gifting the ball to the Bulls. Oh, his foot was on the line. And he actually threw it back inwards, straight into the hands of Edinburgh. Edinburgh have now got themselves, I believe, the line out here from inside of the Bulls 22. Just the feed on the line for Stravino Jacobs. And just watching Hamish do commentary at my brother's house, says Matthew. Now, another line-out chance. Looks like there might be some sort of injury here in back play. It might be Marcel Kurtzia. After getting into that last breakdown, getting a little bit of ice on the back of the neck. And brilliant work and dedication. We're appreciating you. Says Roof. And can't beat Hamish commentary. Says Blues Nate. And there as well. But already some tired players out there on the field. We're only 12 minutes in, but it has been a fast start to this contest. And with the Bulls playing with one less man on the field, of course, that fatigue is going to set in just that little bit quicker throughout this next little period. They're going to go back for the line out now. Big chance for Edinburgh on attack. How is it possible that 4 Australian teams are in the top 6 for Super Rugby, says Albert. It's an interesting one. I will mention that there are a lot of Australian derbies that have already happened where it is an Aussie side versus an Aussie side. So in that case, you're always going to see someone move up the table. I think in terms of wins for Aussie teams, we've seen the Chiefs lose to the Tars. We've seen the Highlanders lose, I think, to 3 of the 4 teams from Australia, and then the Blues up against the Brumbies. I think those are the only losses by New Zealand sides up against the Australians, whereas New Zealand sides have beaten each other probably about 15 times at this stage. So I think it's a little bit maybe not that accurate at the moment. That's a nice pass on the outside. Darcy Graham cuts inwards. But yeah, I think by the end of the season, we'll see it level out a little bit. Oh, big shot again coming from Kirsten on his opposite number. In this case, it was Hamish Watson. Now Bradbury goes back across here. Edinburgh with the penalty advantage. And the Bulls are still acclimatising low, wide cut-out pass. And went forward, so they will go back for the original penalty. Just finished watching Eels and Raiders, 50-12. And Kiwi Lads, everyone, evening, says Spider-Meek. Welcome in. Now another chance here for Edinburgh. A massive shot coming in from Kirsten, Akafunda-Merva, and Martin Zima. So not exactly a light shot coming in on the Edinburgh side. They've decided to go with the tap and go. Only 3 metres out from the line with the run from Fenter. Nice pop pass up over the line, and Bradbury scores it for Edinburgh. Their second try now of the yellow card. Or, in fact, no, sorry, first try of the yellow card period. The other one they did score just beforehand. The pressure just is on at the moment. Just getting that pop pass up nicely. Just finding the right pass. Bradbury that close to the line was always going to be a tough man to be able to stop. Grant Sports would be disappointed in you supporting the Bulls as a Cape Townian. Says Fleshin, are they showing Jake's face by now? Says Albert. I don't even know if they've got a camera angle of the coach's box for this game, I'll be honest. We've only had about 3 different angles so far. And after 14 minutes, it is now 14-0 for this Edinburgh team. And still probably another 3 or 4 minutes worth of Zach Berger's yellow card to work with as well. Not happy with that ref. Send off 1 Bulls. 15-14, come on. Says Spider Mick. Or send off 1 Blues. Wait, so the ref in are we talking the Blues versus Moana Pacifica game? Or which one? Because I think the refereeing overall for Super Rugby this round has been the worst it's ever been. Or not ever been, but worst of the season so far. There has been some really terrible decisions made. That one is going to be kicked into touch by Edinburgh. Another line-out chance. The woman, says Matthew. And Alpiki, says Spider Mick. And French refs are always hard on South African teams, says Albert. Now 15 minutes into the contest. I think that the biggest thing is always to try and adapt to the different referees, because depending on where the ref is from, of course, you're going to have a different type of style. If you've got Luke Pearce, you're not really going to get away with too much. He's pretty strict overall with his calls. Found that out in the Leinster versus Glasgow matchup. Now nicely thrown in. Nakafunda Merva with the rolling maul now here for the Bulls. Yeah, if you're talking about the yellow card in this one, the ref wasn't given too many options after the way that Zach Berger did play at the ball. 16 minutes in, and they have got the possession around 40 metres out. Keegan Johannes goes back across to Marcel Kutsia. Good clean out coming from the Bulls. Just have to make sure that they are getting something moving forward. Bit of a loose pass. Do lose a bit of ground, but brilliant run up the middle from Aaron Foster as David Creel with him. And he will just about, he reaches out and gets it on the line. And the Bulls will score their first try of this Challenge Cup quarterfinal. 14-0 is not good. It may not be, but 14-7 does look a lot better. And that's where the Bulls will sit unless something does get checked here. We're going to see David Creel breaking through. Reaches out, and I think it just touched the white line. It's actually been warming up in Edinburgh for a Scots team. Should work in the Bulls' favour later on. Okay, that angle didn't show up. That kind of looked like he was short from that side. Would have liked an angle on this near side of the field to help us out a little bit. A beautiful try from the Bulls, says Matthew, and come on the Bulls try time. Says Blues Nate. And there as well. But David Creel, he hasn't actually touched the ball too much, I don't think, throughout the rest of this contest, but somehow pops up right place, right time. Same with Harold Foster. Saw the gap in the defensive line and ran straight through it. Okay, and Johannes just going to use up as much time as he can. Does get this kick over, making the score now 14 points to 7 after the 17 minutes. Referees, or French referees, are romantics. They believe in French things. Says Stahl. Right, this angle will show the grounding, I believe, a lot better for David Creel. It was a good tackle, and then, yeah, got it on the line. One showed it much better without the post in the way. 20 degrees in Dublin last night. Players were soaked after 5 minutes. Says Jimbo. Off high from Thompson. Looks like the Bulls are still playing with the 14 men on the park. No TMO, he's good's okay. Yep, so that angle showed it a lot better, which I assume is the angle the TMO must have seen. Well, trying to strip that one was Ewan Ashman. In Johannes, he's been told to use it. He will roll it back. 20 degrees is cold winter's day in Pretoria. Says Albert. It's going to be kicked high down towards the halfway line, and it's gone into touch. Did it? Yes, it's out on the full. I think, for Stravino Jakobs. They will go right back to where the mark was that it was kicked from. Johannes just getting that one slightly wrong. Although I believe we'll use up enough time that Zach Berger will be able to return back onto the field as he just runs past the camera. Now chance for the Edinburgh line out. This one will be about 30 metres out from the line. Yes, Bulls, let's show these guys. Says Ben. And come Bulls play like Springboks. Says Stahl. Oh, that's going to be a free kick for the Bulls. Little bit of hesitation from Ewan Ashman there. There is frustration on the face of this Edinburgh team at the moment. They were able to score themselves one try during that break, where the Bulls only had the 14. Yeah, so Ewan Ashman just had a bit of a hesitant moment there. Kick downfield from the Bulls. Of course, it was a free kick, so wasn't able to find touch with it. Darcy Graham now goes off to Ewan Ashman, who breaks his way through. Massive amount of pace from him. Velicott kicks it in behind. Bounce to the ball is not favourable. And it's a knock-on from Velicott, and also maybe an injury. He just limped back any scrums. Yet we have seen, I believe it's 3 scrums so far. There was 1 free kick for the Bulls, and Edinburgh were able to retain their other one. And then I think there was also, oh, no, that might only be 2 then. Now I think about it. But no dominance from the Bulls at scrum time as of yet that you are, of course, wanting. 20 minutes in. At the moment, Velicott was almost able to go through. Ashman with a little bit of express pace for the big man, and then just needed a better bounce of the ball. I think he got his Achilles stood on there. Come on, Bulls, says Spider Mech. Now will be the line out again here for the Bulls. In fact, it might be Edinburgh's, but yeah, Velicott is still down with his shoe off. This does not look good for the Edinburgh halfback. He's actually had a very busy game so far. He almost scored a try. In fact, he's almost scored 2 if you count that one as well. Ewan Ashman, just pure pace. Be able to almost outrun Zach Berger. In that case, before he got a handful of the jersey. Yeah, it looks like maybe he just twisted the ankle on the way through after going for the ball. Already a quarter of the way through this contest is Aka's brother playing today, says Albert. So Aka in the starting lineup. But no, he is not. Depending on who his brother is. I don't see another Fundermerva in the starting lineup, though. I assume you're saying Duan Fundermerva, are you? In which case, no, he's not playing in this game either. Right, boots going back on for Velicott. Now, normally, if you are injured and you're going to be making your way from the field, you would not put that boot back on. You just leave it off. Unless that's to try and reduce swelling. Sometimes they do that, but normally they'd recommend not taking the boot off in the first place. Looks like he's going to try and continue. Can you talk a bit softer? I'm trying to sleep. The best thing to do would be to turn your volume down just that little bit. Might be the best bet. But now, it's going to be the line out for Edinburgh. Velicott getting a round of applause from the crowd. They are happy that he will be continuing in this match. Looks like Boan Fenta was also adjusting the boots. In fact, he's switching out the boots for a new pair. And we have got the 20 degrees is often our annual max temp here, says Jimbo. Our lovely try, Bulls, tie your bootlaces. And for Daxa Cambridge, you're looking fresh, says Roof. And we have still got another game just around the corner. It will be the match between Bordeaux and Munster. Munster causing the massive upset in the Champions Cup last week. And they were able to beat La Rochelle, who have won the trophy quite recently, 2 times in a row for 2022, 2023, I believe it was. And since then, we've seen Toulouse win it. They will be playing Toulon on Monday morning, New Zealand time, Sunday afternoon. For you guys in South Africa, we were also covering that game too. Now, line out throw for Ewan Ashman, about 32 metres out from the line, and it's overthrown. Bounce to the ball, no free kick. Does go the way of the Bulls. Edinburgh not quite playing their smoothest rugby just at this point. Be a bit disappointed how it has been going just in recent times, as they've had some momentum but kind of slipped away. Imagine a Munster win today, there'll be a stampede to the bookies. Well, that's the thing. For them to get to the final, they would have to beat pretty much 3 French sides, all extremely strong French sides, in quick succession. So, if they were able to do that, it would certainly be a statement for this Munster team. I lost my bet today thanks to that stupid ref, says Spider Me. But that's the thing. That's why anytime someone says, who should I bet on and everything, I always say you best not to, because the amount of games that have been decided by a referee's decision lately has been pretty much 50-50. So you're not even really betting on, in some cases, what should happen. You're betting on what's going to happen depending on the deciding of officials. So it's just not worth it. 19 minutes remaining here in the first half of this Challenge Cup quarter-final. So some tired bodies out there on the park already. The Bulls are the Pretoria Springboks, where I'm from. And yes, Bulls all the way. Says Ben, looks like another injury here. Just a little bit of ice on the hamstring of Akafanda. Hopefully he is going to be all right. Be able to continue this match. Which if anyone wants to sleep now, they must sleep on the couch TV. Or TV on, says Ruth, in fact. It was there. Just looking at the draw, if we go here, I've got the wrong page. I was looking for the way that this was going to be situating in terms of who was going to be playing who. There we go. EPR Challenge Cup. We're going to jump up a little bit. Edinburgh are playing the winner of Bath or Gloucester, or the Bulls in this case. At the moment, the way that it sits, though, it would be either Bath or Gloucester facing the winner of this contest. If anyone's wondering why I had to go like that to be able to see it, it is because I've got my iPad on a stand here, because to be able to set myself to Australia, I had to do it through my iPad rather than my PC. So yeah, I've got it on like a big stand thing, so that it's almost like a normal stream for us in terms of angle. But now, the injuries are all dealt with. Scrum is about to take place for Edinburgh. They do put that ball in. Front row's collapse, but it will be Velicott who's going off to the short side, trying the little kick in behind, and it's going to be knocked on by Edinburgh, giving the ball straight back to the Bulls. Don't necessarily feel like they can afford to give that position there. There is no knock on, says the ref now. For the advantage, Devon Williams charged down by Edinburgh and cleaned up by the big man, Javin Sebastian. Now, Johan Ashman kicked him behind again. Chance for Vez Hoosen, but it's taken by David Creel to be able to call the mark. You've got there, listen with the name like Akafanda Merva. He's Terminator Deluxe version, pure Pretoria Bull. Says Ruth in there too. Going to be kicked downfield by the Bulls, and they have managed to find touch with it. Will once again be an Edinburgh lineout. They've had a lot of lineouts throughout the first stages of this contest, but really well watched by David Creel. Definitely with dealing a little bit with the sun. Ewan Ashman, they missed their last lineout. The Bulls won't mind this. They this time decide to go to the front. Ewan Ashman running down the wing after a bit of a set play. Between the two, Velicott goes across to Grant Gilchrist. 22 metres out from the line. Back across to Lang, who did score the first try of the match for Edinburgh. Great hands. Wes Hoosen goes on the outside. Stepping inwards was Ross McCann, but he has lost his footing in the process and slips over. 15 metres out. Velicott looking off to the left-hand side and does opt to go that way, although it looks like the Bulls had it relatively well handled, so perhaps just trying to think ahead, create a bit of a gap on the right to be able to run through. And Krill firing on all cylinders, says Ruth. Another nice step from Edinburgh, not making a huge amount of ground just through these last three phases, but now it looks like the play is about to take place. Passing it out wide. Low pass to Ewan Ashman. Does bulldoze his way forward just a little bit more as he's tackled by Stravino Jacobs. Bit of a counter ruck coming from Krill. Hamish Watson has to play halfback. Goes across to Boan Fenta. Off to the left again, Bradbury. He was the man who was able to score the second try for this Edinburgh side. Lang tackled low by Cameron Hanekom. Back across to the left again. Almost the interception chance in the breakdown for the Bulls. This is great defence at the moment. They haven't let Edinburgh find their way through. Oh, and they've tried to kick. Lang picks it up beautifully and scores the try. That is sometimes the unluckiness of a game of rugby. The Bulls did everything right defensively there. Lang tries a chip in behind, which I don't think was the best option. It bounces off a Bulls player, comes back into his hand, and because of the kick, it means that there is open space for him to be able to run through and does score the try. Sometimes you need that little bit of luck, and Edinburgh have got it there to score their third of the contest. Only women's rugby in South Africa is the Lions, says Charles. Let's just have close games, please. No hammerings anymore. It affects my sleep patterns, says Revenge of Cool Story Bro. That is the try. Second to the match for Lang. And what a fluke, says Matthew. Yeah, it's one of those ones that, you know, one time out of 10, it goes straight into their hands. The other times it can bounce off awkwardly, and even in some of those cases can bounce to the Bulls, and they run the full length and score. But Edinburgh, they've used the momentum. They were putting pressure on the Bulls. And now that kick has gone over to making the score 21 points to 7. Edinburgh on top, says Lewis. At the moment, sitting very nicely here, this Edinburgh side. Few players really standing up. We've hardly seen Cameron Heineken for the Bulls, so I guess that's one bonus for them. The fact that once that man finds his feet, may be able to work back into the contest. But until then, you're just waiting for the possession. Inside of the 22, Edinburgh will kick this one downfield. Who's Matatu? So that is the pretty much Highlanders and Crusaders women's sides combined. So it's pretty much just a South Island team for Super Rugby Aupiki. Women's rugby in Cork today, Six Nations Island versus England. Says Patrick, let's go, says Lewis. Sitting 20, in fact, no, sorry, a bit more than that, 35 metres out from the line now for the Bulls, and they do get themselves the penalty for Edinburgh not rolling away. And still early, Lewis. Says Stahlberg and Bulls come back soon. And no Bulls are back to basics, come on the Bulls, says Ben. And that's the thing, if they can get themselves a bit more of their hands on the ball, that would be a massive, massive help because, you know, they've spent a lot of this game defending. When they have had possession, they've been inside of their own half. So they just need to get that territory right. That's a very good kick. And it'll make the ball only about 6 metres out from the line now with a fantastic opportunity to get the attack going. Yeah, fair it is early, but the Bulls team is stacked, says Lewis. Not necessarily. They have gone with a bit of a more experimental side in this contest. Don't get me wrong, it is still a very strong team, but yeah, I think that they had it differently. They would have a few more switches in this contest. Oh, nice hit coming in. Akafanda Merva tries to go over the top of Ross McCann. And come on, the Bulls don't mess it up, says Piet. And sometimes those are the best tries, says Flesh. And yeah, sometimes they can be the most rewarding. You know, like that 7-pointer could be the difference between these two teams, the way that it's going at the moment. Oh, ball is popped out the side. Edinburgh jump on it. Honeycomb almost was able to take it back, but just a lack of ball security in the breakdown for the Bulls. Gives Edinburgh the possession again, and off the left boot, looking for the touchline. Doesn't get the greatest angle on it there for Thompson. We're going to see it here. Kirsten, what happens here? Hamish Watson, yeah, he's ripped that ball away. Now, we did see a little bit less than that. Or, in fact, we saw more than that strip, I should say, in the game between the Blues and Moana, and it ended up being a try in the end. And the Bulls, it's time to score now, says Ben. Matatu is a South Island women team. I only watch it because of Aimee Duplessis. Says Spider Mech now. Edinburgh once again managed to get possession back. Wes Hoosen sends it downfield off his boot. And it's a very good kick from Edinburgh to clear their lines. It just feels like at the moment we're one little play away from another break from one of these two sides. Could be the Bulls, although they have got Akafanda Merva down again. Still having a few troubles with that leg, it would seem. It's a really good kick from Wes Hoosen just to relieve that pressure. Used to play for the Hurricanes in Super Rugby Pacific. That'll be where a lot of Kiwis do know him from. And this time, actually, Akafanda Merva, rather than the hamstring like it was last time, it's actually now the quad. So it's moving all around that area of his leg. But yeah, definitely not what he wants in this scenario. And it came the Bulls, or come on Bulls. So here's Ben. Any word on the Matt Fagerson injury? I haven't actually heard anything yet. All I know is it did look relatively severe. So, hopefully he's able to recover and will be back in the relatively near future. But I don't think he will. I think it's going to be a few months off for Fagerson. Give it to the Edinburgh, says Young. Because it's not normally a good sign when they give the guy the green whistle. That's normally when they're in a huge amount of discomfort. Now, Bulls will have themselves the line out. 40 metres out from their own line here. Akafunda Merva just asking about the gap, saying that there is not much of one. What colour are her eyes, says Ruth. Now, nicely taken by the Bulls, looking for this rolling maul. And this has made probably about 10 metres already here. And that one's gone down. Ball just about comes out for Zach Berger. We're given a little bit more time to be able to recycle that one, seeing as there was a bit of extra contact from Edinburgh. Duff shall do a judo throw over his shoulders. Says Ruth. Alkutsia moves up to the halfway line. Berger goes across to Martin Zima. Looking for the turnover there. Hamish Watson. His hands were down. It just depends on the interpretation of the referee, but he has been awarded the turnover there. Big sell of the dummy from the even bigger Sebastian. Now kicking him behind Thompson. Looking for, it would have been close to a 50-22, although he did use it inside of the half. That one has been returned down into the Edinburgh territory. 45 metres out from their line. They will have the line out here again. Already 30 minutes through in this Challenge Cup quarter final. The winner of this game does go on to face the winner of Bath versus Gloucester. Match that has taken place tomorrow. And I believe the home side in that contest, I think it's Bath, and they come in as quite heavy favourites. There we go. Those are the odds and also the matches that are still to come for the quarterfinals. They are all in New Zealand time. So if you are in South Africa, your best bet is to add 2 hours and change the AM to PM. So the likes of Ospreys, for instance, up against Leon, that is taking place at 6:30 PM South African time. Or if you want to do it legitimately, it's just going back 10 hours from New Zealand time. Yeah, not straight from Edinburgh at line-out time. So it does mean that the Bulls will once again have themselves a scrum. Part of the game that they certainly would like quite a bit of throughout this match, just being able to force most sides backwards with their scrum dominance. Now 9 minutes left in this first half. If the Bulls can score again, they'll certainly feel confident heading into the second half, but they do need one more try, I would say, just to get them in the right direction. Bulls bully being bully backed, says Juan Pierre Bosch. Bulls bully being bully back. I wouldn't say they're being bullied per se. It's just Edinburgh have played a very, very solid game of rugby so far. Their passing has been exceptional. And the Bulls have just been under that little bit of pressure. I like to watch this game. It should be sort of sexy, lol, says Stahl. And the Bulls now the Bulls. And if the Ospreys, says Fleshen. Oh, going to be the scrum again here. Now set. Looks like a little bit of instability at scrum time. Both front rows go down and the advantage goes the way of the Bulls. Travino Jacobs, we're waiting for this one out wide. Sergio Peterson tries to kick, but it is charged down. And we'll go back for the original penalty. And no blue eyes, says Spider Mick. I wonder whether or not Spider Mick has just searched it up during that time that he had in between the question. Edinburgh have had a good last 6 weeks or so, finishing the season stronger, says Jimbo. And that's the thing, with the URC as close as it is at the moment, all you need is to put together a few decent games near the end and you can find yourself within the top 8. Once again, we have to lift our head up. Edinburgh are currently sitting in 8th. Cardiff are in 9th on 36 points, which is the same amount as Edinburgh has. Awkward bounce of the ball, only 5 metres out from the line. It looks like the Bulls have managed to take it back, but the penalty does go the way of Edinburgh due to the Bulls not releasing. But Zach Berger almost able to get that ball for his side. Tried to kick it for the corner from Devin Williams. He turned around and was not happy about it. Then the bounce of the ball almost turned into an absolutely perfect one. We talked about that charge down earlier on that led to the last try from Edinburgh. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck. He almost had it there. Martin Zima, probably not going to be a popular man with the officials if he keeps on pointing to where he feels that the ball did go out. Normally touch judges don't like when the props do that. My eyes change colour from brown to green, and then sometimes they go hazel, but at the moment they are 100% red. Says Matthew, let's go. The Bulls get one and change the momentum. Says Sam, Edinburgh inside of their 22. Bulls just need that one big steal. Honeycomb not happy with getting cleaned out of that breakdown. Valacott. Kick it downfield again. And does manage to find touch with it. And we have got their red eyes, says Ruth. And out on defend Bulls, says Ruth in there as well. Akafunda Murphy, he will have himself the line out. Only 34 minutes into this matchup. And it's been competitive. I feel like Edinburgh have had the better moments, but the Bulls don't look a mile off. Almost a steal there at line-out time, but Heineken did end up knocking the ball on rather than back. Now going off to the left-hand side, Skinner. Tackled by Kirsten, and there is another advantage there, I believe, or maybe that is almost advantage over from that knock-on. Valacott will go with boot to ball. That one is close to the sideline. Jamie Ritchie does very well to be able to regather for Edinburgh. The moment for the aerial battle, it does seem to be in favour of Edinburgh. They've also managed to milk the advantage for Zach Bergen not being able to roll away. Lang going for the kick in behind. Seems like a risky choice, but was looking for that 50-22, so they will go right back to where the penalty was. Karen Berger, she's a hottie from South Africa. Says Blues Nate. And Amy Duplessis, also a hottie. Says Blues Nate. I can't even see my brother's eyes. Are they worse than Cheech and Chong's eyes? And how Edinburgh are playing? They've been very, very competitive in the breakdowns, which I think is a massive bonus for them. They've won a few penalties from that same position. And then they're attacking. Their quick hands been helping them out big time. While drawing money at the ATM, my eyes go red, seeing the balance. Says Stahl. 4 minutes left in this first half. Edinburgh will have another attacking chance just inside of the Bulls 22. Amy Ritchie just looking a little bit fatigued at the moment. I think that is the case for most of the players out there on the park. It has been a fast tempo. Can you imagine if Leinster actually cared about that URC match against the Bulls? Fielded a full strength team, but Leinster by slaughter. Says destroying dumb people, although at the end of the day, the Bulls can only face whatever side face them. So I do think those two sides may play off again later on, and that will be when we see Leinster with the full strength sides. That's going to be another advantage. So Edinburgh will be able to kick this one once again towards the touchline. Edinburgh look more hungry for the win than the Bulls as they keep feeling the game. And who? Red wine, says Ruth. And there too. Yeah, really nicely taken by Edinburgh there. And just had that ball at the back available. Not a huge amount of contact in the air, but it was enough to give away the penalty. And in fact, this is an interesting choice from Edinburgh. They've actually opted for the 3 points here. Maybe feeling like they weren't quite breaking through the way that they would have liked. That means that they will be opting for the 3-point option rather than the full 7. And Leinster were under strength versus the Bulls because of Island protocol, not disinterest. Says Jimbo. Yeah, so like they didn't really have much of a choice in terms of the type of side that they would put out on the field. New Zealand South African girls ring Hamish's bell. Says a Blues name. Every time I go to the ATM, it says better luck next time. Says Charles. And Ross Thompson does get the kick over. A tap on the head is full contact. Says one Pierre Bosch. I assume it was because it was in the ear. If we're talking about that most recent one. So I think that is why that penalty was awarded, but the score now 24 points to 7. Only 2 minutes remaining now. Nate ring my bell, says Ruth. Going to be kicked off. Sergio Peterson thought about jumping up for it, but it will be in the hands of Bradbury. He's had a bit of a hard time bringing that one down. 2 minutes left now on the clock. Edinburgh will know that they have more than enough time to be able to kick this ball downfield as if they try and close it out from here. Could end up costing them. That's jumping over the middle of the breakdown from Wilco Lowe. Wasn't quite working for him. Bellicott again will go for the box kick. Very good one, almost competitive. Nicely claimed by Ruan Nokia, who got it across to Cameron Heineken. Another thing that Edinburgh have done very well in this game is shut him out of it. Sorvino Jacobs moving up to 40 metres outside. Berger goes to the short side. Devin Williams, that is a brilliant tackle from Darcy Graham. Had to be made, or else Devin Williams would have probably scooted down that short side. Could have found some open space. But yeah, really great tackle from Graham. The Edinburgh will go into defence mode. Bulls bench to steal it with one. Says one Pierre Bosch. And that's the thing. Both of these benches look really strong for this match, which is absolutely awesome to see. Looks like a few drinks are being run onto the field due to a couple Edinburgh players staying down. Richie just readjusting his boot. I believe there are two other forwards who are also down at the moment. Looks like Ewan Ashman just getting a bit of medical attention. The 17 points difference. Jamie Ritchie just getting asked by the referee if he's all right. He's saying, yep, just got to tie these up. And it's coordinated now, says Ruth. And Bulls have to play clever rugby now. And second half Bulls, says Rian. Yeah, if they are able to get themselves a try here before the end of the first half, like that would be absolutely massive for them. Although only 1 minute remaining on the clock, I believe Edinburgh will look to just keep this ball, be able to close it out with that substantial lead. But the Bulls, they've come back before. I feel like even in their game up against Bayern, there were times where it looked like maybe they were going to lose it. That is not straight from Edinburgh. And it now gives the ball to the Bulls again. They will get the last attacking chance of the half. Ewan Ashman not too happy about it. He's had a hard day at the office when it comes to those line-out throws. We've seen a few stolen. Like I've just said, if it goes within the 15 metres, it can be not straight as long as the opposition don't contest. In that case, it went past 15 metres, which means the opposition, if they don't contest, it still needs to be straight. And in that case, it was not. And yes, Bulls now, says Ben. Now 15 seconds left. Can they get that late breakaway? Get them back into this contest. Theoretically, they could go through with a minimum of 10 points difference. They do score now. Looks like Cameron Heineken, they want to use this one off the back. Front row pops up. They've been told to use it. I would have thought it would have been a penalty in their favour. Referee says too much movement. I think both sides are a bit frustrated with that call, as they both thought they won the scrum. But all I saw was a Sebastian's head go straight up in that scrum scenario. So I don't think they'll want that to happen again. If the game ends now, the score would be a hammering, says Albert. The good news is we've still got another full 40 minutes where the Bulls can either bring it back or Edinburgh can cement themselves through to the semi-final to face either Gloucester or Bath. You've still got another game of the Champions Cup happening in about an hour and 30 minutes time too, ladies and gents. That will be between Bordeaux and Munster, which we are also covering on the channel. Ball about to be fed in by Zach Berger. And it's gone down to the front row again. Referee says to use it. So he's not too keen on the scrum penalties for this matchup. It was Sam good run for from Stravino Jacobs. Now Heineken trying to go through Matt Curry. Matanzima, 22 metres out from the line here. Big clean out coming from the Bulls. And it looks like Edinburgh have got another player who has stayed down. Tackle release is the call. It's like Hamish Watson is actually the man who was staying down. There's a forward pass from the Bulls right at the end of the half. And that is now going to be halftime in this contest. 24 points to 7. The lead for Edinburgh. So very impressive at home from the Scottish side. But they have to make sure they do the same in the second half. If they aren't able to, it's when we see the Bulls find their way back into the fixture. And Curry and Rice, says Ruth. It's a good song to sing while having hits from a bong and a drink, says Matthew. 24 points to 7. 2 tries from Matthew Lang. Also did see the try from Magnus Bradbury. And then the 1 try coming for the Bulls in that first half. And that was for David Creel. I love your channel. Can you do more Edinburgh games, says Lewis Smith? The biggest problem with Edinburgh games is normally they aren't actually shown here in New Zealand, unless they are playing a South African team. And that's just due to the broadcast rights that TVNZ here in New Zealand have. So normally when we're not doing a match, it's not because we don't want to. It's just because they don't have them here. And then for me to be able to watch those games, similar to this one, I'd have to purchase a match pass, which normally costs you between kind of 15 to 25 New Zealand dollars per game. So if we add a couple more to the weekend, it does get pretty expensive, unfortunately. But looking through at Edinburgh's next games, that's not them. Hang on, we'll go here. There we go. So like they're going to be playing the Sharks Saturday morning next week. I believe we will be able to cover that game because of the fact that they are playing the Sharks. So that will be one that they show here in New Zealand. Zebra versus Edinburgh, though, they won't be showing here. So we won't be able to cover that one. For anyone wondering about who the Bulls are playing next as well, they have got Munster next weekend and Glasgow the weekend after. A couple big matches still to come in the URC. How's it, Hamish? Not looking good for the Bulls, says Booty V. Welcome in, mate. You are doing extremely well. And yeah, it hasn't been their best performance at the moment, but they can still build on it. Second half around the corner. They have to get a good start. Very good there, Tap Tenig. Must be the most absent and useless individual in rugby. If he gets paid, I'll be surprised if he receives a salary. If he does, it's a bribe. Says Esbok. I'll be honest, I have no idea who that is. Over win Edinburgh or the Chiefs. Very hard to say. Also depends on who's at home, who the players are that are actually taken to the field. And we have their back-to-back bruises for the Bulls. Says Jimbo. And Munster played their final last week against La Rochelle. Can't see them doing it again, says Johan. Yeah, it's going to be tough. And the thing is, even if they were able to pull off that massive victory over Bordeaux, the weekend after, they still have to play either Toulouse or Toulon. So they would have to go 3 massive wins over French sides in a row just to find themselves possibly playing Leinster in the final. So, yeah, a lot of work to go. Well, this Munster side to be able to go all the way, but who knows? Maybe they can get the job done. We have got there, who's that Titanic movie, Sinking Feeling? That you don't know, it's because he's not doing anything, says Spock. Although there are a lot of players in the world of rugby that, of course, I do not know as well. And all in France, says Jimbo. And there as well. But looking through at the benches for these two sides. First of all, that's the wrong bench. There we go. Dave Cherry as the number 16, Pierre Schuurman, and Ray as the number 18, Carmichael, and Muncaster, I should say, as the 20, Price, Scott, and Tui Pilotu as the back replacements. For the Bulls, they have got Johan Robelaar, Vessels, and Mornay Smith, Ludwig, and Van Staden as the other forward replacements, and then Papier Hussin and Kanan Moody, a pretty handy player to have off the bench for the later stages of this matchup. Of course, the winner of this game does go on to face the winner of Bath versus Gloucester. That game taking place at 4:30 a.m. New Zealand time around the corner. Do you think the Bulls have a fighting chance of winning? Honestly, from what we've seen in the URC, I would say that if they start the second half well, get a couple penalties in their favour and just commit to those breakdowns, they do have a chance of coming back into it. Edinburgh had some very good attacking plays though, so the last thing that they can do is underestimate their opposition here, and if they do, it'll be an interesting one. Is the head at URC Rugby, says Esbok. So you're saying he's the most useless individual, so what is his job? I guess he's just to probably tell everyone else what to do, isn't it? The URC seems to be going quite well, though, in terms of viewership, and also, I mean, there's some decent crowds, depending on who is playing, of course. When I blow too much, I start seeing rainbow, says Spider Mick, and that's a nice Edinburgh bench, and chicken curries and rice, nice hot meals for cold nights, says Blues Nate. Now I'm starting to get hungry. It's currently 12:30 a.m. in New Zealand, so not exactly a time that you would normally eat food. How you doing, Ruth? You're all cool? Says Birdie V. And there as well. The bagpipes being played around the halfway line. Seen 3 tries from Scotland. James Lang able to get himself the 2. And then also Magnus Bradbury was able to get the other for the Bulls. They've just had the 1 try of David Creel My apologies, head of URC referees, says Spock in there as well. So which decision of this match would you say you didn't like, Spock, out of curiosity? Because I assume that there would be a reason that you are bringing up. Maybe call one the wrong way here and made you annoyed. So what was the big decision that did it to you? Hi everyone, bit late. Hope you're all doing well and cooler because it's wet, rainy, colder day. Says Ruth. Appalling by the Bulls. Never saw such bad rugby. Says Whitwolf. Good news is, as bad as it could have been in the first half, they've still got another 40 minutes to turn this one around. But Edinburgh also deserve a lot of credit with the way that they have played throughout this match. They have made it challenging for the Bulls and have really broken the rhythm of this Bulls side, who are one of those teams that when they get momentum, they're very hard to stop. So Edinburgh knew that, so they've just tried to starve them of the possession at times. Try not to. It was about third round, says Blues Nate. And hi everyone, bit late. Hope all are doing well, says Lilia B. The Bagpipes are absolutely going for it on the halfway line. Couple more matches taking place for the Champions Cup today. We are going to get to see, in fact, I can actually pop this up as I do have the banner here. There we go. These are the matches of the Champions Cup. We are covering Bordeaux versus Munster. Northampton versus Castra is a game that we are going to be missing, unfortunately, but we will be doing Toulon versus Toulouse, which has taken place at 2 a.m. on Monday morning. Yeah, overall, just a fast-paced first half. Few little errors from both sides, and also quite a few injuries look like they were coming into the mix. The Bagpipe players are going to be extremely fatigued at halftime as well by the time they are finished their routine. Second half. Do let me know your score predictions for it, ladies and gents. And we have got the hi everyone, bit late. How are we all doing? Says Lilia. Hello Lilia, says Jimbo. And also we have got their cone time, bro, says Matthew in there as well. So they are doing some sort of youth training drill as well on the side. This is an angle that we don't normally see from TVNZ. Normally they just have the halftime and we don't get to see too much else in regards to it. But because I am watching through EPC Rugby, it means that we do get those little bonuses. Yeah, second half, I think the first 10 minutes going to be so crucial for this Bulls side. What we will quickly do as well is we will get some stats up for this game if we can. Go here. I have to kind of put my head up because once again I have got my iPad in the way of the screen. Okay, we'll go to the Champions Cup website. We'll go across to the Challenge Cup. And we will go to fixtures and results. Can't blame Tate for current games. It's about what he does and addresses poor refereeing in previous games. Says Esbok. Currently, in terms of the stats, there's a fly who's trying to attack me. That's nice. Currently, match stats for this one. We have to do it to a lean, unfortunately, just because or else we can't actually see the numbers. But so far, we've seen 3 tries from Edinburgh. We've seen 3 conversions go over. Penalties is 1-0 apparently, but I don't think that number would be correct. Meters made 287 for the Edinburgh side compared to the Bulls 113. We've seen 70 carries compared to 34, so Edinburgh having over double of their opposition. Clean breaks 8-2. Defenders beaten 11-1. And then also possession-wise, 61% in favour of Edinburgh with 63% for the territory. In terms of defence, we've seen 84% of tackles made by this Bulls side and 93% made by Edinburgh. So overall, pretty even. Well, not pretty even, in fact, very one-sided in favour of Edinburgh. URC finals next month plus Challenge Cup. Busy months, says Blues Nate. Yeah, although I will mention with the Bulls, in terms of if they are knocked out of the Challenge Cup, unless they start showing the games on Sky, we may end up going mainly for the Champions Cup side of things. And although there, Hamish, thanks for calling this game, says Sue, and not very promising for the Bullies, eh? Says Jimbo. Yeah, not the first half that they were after, but that does not mean that they can't get back into this game. They're just going to need a little bit of momentum early on, a couple decisions going their way, and a couple great runs. Which, I mean, they've got a great back line in this match. You've got Foster and Creel, who linked up nicely for that first try of the match. Sergio Peterson out on the wing with pure pace, but he hasn't really had too many chances to be able to show it, other than that 1 foot race, which in the end they did go back for something else. Right, sounds like the bagpipes have made their way off the field, which does mean I would say we're not a mile away from the start. Do let me know your score predictions. If you haven't already, ladies and gents, let me know who do you think will be able to get themselves the win. Can Edinburgh hang on, or will it be instead the Bulls who are able to cause a massive upset? They would need 18 points just to get back into this contest. There's a lot to do. I've got some moral support. Lilia and me, the Groupie Hamish fan club is here, says Ruth. And the Bulls, let's go Bulls, hit it, baby, try time. There's Ruth. They are now just clearing the field of everyone as well, which means second half is probably only 2 minutes away from starting up. First try of the half has to go the way of the Bulls. If it doesn't, Edinburgh by 30, Bulls 25. Okay, so you're saying a bit of a comeback from the Bulls, but Edinburgh still to get themselves the win. Edinburgh by 1 score only. Okay, so it's very similar to Sean in that regard. Next game that we are covering will be starting in an hour and 20 minutes time. South African teams are so disappointing this season, says Jean. If you're talking about the Champions Cup, then I'd 100% agree. None of them really living up to the expectations. Challenge Cup wise, could also maybe say the same, but URC wise, I think every single South African side is still in with a shot of making the quarterfinals. The Sharks last year at this same time were about 15th. They now find themselves within the top 6. The Bulls, they are right up there. Not too many losses for their season so far. The Lions, about where they were last year with the opportunity of making it into the top 8. And then the Stormers have been a bit up and down, but still thereabouts with where they need to be. I think they're currently, they're 10th. And the Lions are in 14th, but they're on 30 points, which means one more win would actually put them right back up to roughly where they need to be. And Bulls 35, Edinburgh 32 is Piet's prediction there, first half. Hopefully the Bulls wake up before they lose, says Ben. Edinburgh, they have made their way back out onto the field. The Bulls have already done so. My Bulls second half, they'll make 4 tries, I know, says Thorbella. So is that 4 tries to win this game, Thorbella, or 4 tries to be extremely close but just narrowly miss out? I assume that is to win, though. I would like to think. Now the Bulls ready to kick this one off again. From right to left they will be going, and already we see a change made by this Bulls side. Johan Hussen has made his way on. And I think that's for Keegan Johannes. I was hoping they would say it. How you get your stuff, Matthew? Spider Meek. Right, referee has also made his way back out onto the field, so we are just about ready to go for the second 40 minutes. Bulls down by 17. But they've made that early switch of Hussen. Needs to control this back line. Find ways of running those great players like David Creel, like Foster through gaps. Start moving them in the right direction. They have just said the winner will play Bath or Gloucester. That will be happening in a couple months' time, or a month's time, I believe it is. Somewhere around there. Right, what are we waiting for? I think we're waiting for the AC/DC to finish. Playing a little bit of Thunderstruck at the moment. Players, both sides looking confused at why the half hasn't gotten back underway. Johan Hussen, right now it looks like we are just about ready. Maybe waiting for the TMO to take his seat. Who is captain now, I think has just been asked by the referee. Now, whistle blown, and we are back underway. Would that be at Bath or at their place? Oh. We'll come back to that. Sergio Peterson looks like he might have just hurt his forearm quite badly. Looked like he was slightly dangling it. And it looks like he has worked his way almost off the field, has he? Yeah, for Sergio Peterson. Did not look flash. Yeah, he stayed down on the sideline. I think he's possibly done some quite serious damage to that forearm. Hello, everyone, says Sebastian. But yeah, it would be, I think there's neutral grounds for the semi-finals, isn't there? Or am I incorrect in that regard? But in terms of who is ranked where, I believe it would be home game for Edinburgh if it was going to be based off who gets home finals. But if not, I think it's just a neutral ground. Could be wrong. Yeah, Sergio Peterson, he kind of went off straight away holding that arm, which does not look good. Oh, he might have dislocated his elbow. Or at least he had his arm up making the tackle and his teammates come in and bent it that way. So that does not look good for Sergio Peterson, and I believe that they will already have to probably make a sub. How did he get injured? So yeah, in the process of making the tackle, had his arm like that round the player, and then his teammate came in and crunched his arm to put it the wrong way. I say by seeding if Edinburgh lose, would be at Bath, says Sean. Yeah, so, because the Bulls come in as a lower rank, don't they? But if Edinburgh win, they will have the home one. But I also think they've got neutral grounds, maybe just for the final, though. Maybe the semis are not predetermined locations. And neutral stadium, home country, says Jimbo. We're looking for foul play of 7 of the Bulls, I think is what the ref has just said. That'll be against Kirsten. Now, this is not the start to the half that the Bulls would have been after. We're only a minute in. Yeah, I mean, it's close to shoulder on head. Maybe contacts Ross McCann's head first. Final only neutral ground, I think. Says Sean, and ouch, injured arm alert. Says Ruth. Change of height for Ross McCann. Is this going to be something more serious? For me, that's just a penalty. Like, it's not the greatest looking one, but McCann seemed to be fine. Kirsten's a tall man. He injured his own teammate, so... Yeah, I think that this is just a penalty, and if it is a yellow, then it's maybe rough. They're trying to find the slowest motion shot that they can find to see if there is actually head contact. And I mean, he did come in high. He's got an arm wrap there. It's foul play. Okay. So they both agree, but it sounds like they're still going to give a yellow card. They said that it wasn't as serious as it could have been. The finals are in Cardiff. That's the closest we need to, or we get to a final nowadays back home. Says Fleshin. There's going to be a yellow card for Kirsten, who does not look happy about it. And the Bulls starting the second half similar to how they started the first, and that is with 14 on the field. The Bulls cannot lose another man, 13 men on a dead man's chest, says Ruth. Now Thompson, he will be able to kick this one towards the sideline. It's interesting that they don't have a right-footed kicker, because all the time he's going off the outside of his boot. And I don't think they're getting as many meters as they would if they just had someone off their right peg kicking it into touch. But another line out here for Edinburgh. And the 14 men again here for the Bulls, so it makes it just a little bit more challenging for them to be able to win this game. They will not give up. Nicely taken by Skinner. Now Watson goes across to Ewan. Ashman again showing off his pace. Still going for passes off to Lang, who will be tackled 5 metres out from the line. Ali Price, he's made his way on. Wide cutout pass from Thompson. Gets it across to Graham, who will be within 3 metres. Balls there all. Almost played it on the ground. Ruan Nokia would have got him in quite some trouble round the side. Grant Gilchrist bundles over and it's another try for Edinburgh. Yet again, the yellow card does cost the Vodacom Bulls. That is going to stretch out their lead now to, at this point in time, a lead of the 22 points. Chance to move it up to, is that correct? Yeah, 22 points difference at the moment. Chance to make it 24. Darcy Graham. They've done well to defend as well, and as long as they did there, the Bulls, as Edinburgh were just flying forward. That's like two team players smacking heads to get a concussion. Here's Ruth. Now, kick opportunity here again for Ross Thompson, who has had a great day off the kicking tee. Hasn't missed a kick as of yet. Who would have thought the Scots can play after yesterday? Here's Sebastian. Yeah, at the moment, Edinburgh are just doing a lot of things right. Ref dishing out yellow cards like sweets. Here's Birdie V. And Thompson once again gets that kick over. Now making the score 31 points to 7. Across the Champions and Challenge Cup, the Bulls are the only South African side remaining. Furthest that a side has made it is the quarterfinals. They will be disappointed in some regards, but not if the Bulls do win the URC. That has been the focus from Jake White right from the start. He has said he doesn't care about the Champions Cup, doesn't care about the challenge, wants to go on and win the URC comp. 4 tries to the 1 at the moment, the way that it's also able to get themselves the penalty alongside that. At the moment, for myself, it is frozen. I hope that that is like that for everyone and not just for myself. Might have to refresh the page, see if it does kick back in. And about the ref dishing out the yellow cards. And yeah, both yellow cards have heavily cost this Bulls side. It is a bit of a concern and something that they will have to try and work a little bit harder for in the future, of trying not to concede. As any more tries from here, I think they're probably out of this match. I would say as my prediction. At the moment, it is a black screen for myself. And I don't know whether or not that's the case for everyone or just because I'm... Oh, no, we're back now. 45 minutes in. Chance here for the Bulls. On attack, they will be sitting about 25 metres out from the line. And we have got there Sebastian Leinster, a different pros position, as you should know, and restoring prize aftermath of Glasgow Warriors. Here's Blues Nate. In fact, it is frozen for me again on the Challenge Cup website. This is not ideal. Definitely not when, like I said, this is one of the only games that we've actually had to pay for individually. And coverage is cutting in and out. Restoring pride aftermath of Glasgow Warriors. Says Nate, yeah, if both Scottish sides did have big losses here, I think there would have been quite a bit of disappointment across the board. So we have a bit more time with that yellow card in play. Chance here for the rolling maul of the Bulls by the looks of it, sitting 5 metres out from the line. Akafunda Merva trying to control this one at the back. This is getting extremely close for this Bulls side. They've been told to use it once, but they will. Oh, Funda Merva might have been over, was he? Or was it held up? I think he might have put it down on some boots there. Sounds like the TMO might actually have a look at this. This could even be a penalty try, which would bring a yellow card now for Edinburgh. A little bit of a scuffle on the ground between Grant Gilchrist and JF van Heerden. In fact, it was Jan Hendrik Wessels who pops up after a little bit of a push and a shove. Rowan Nokia still going at the Scottish 4-pack. The tension is starting to come a little bit more thick and fast here for these two sides. But this is going to be a big decision for the TMO and the referee of whether or not this is a deliberately dragged down maul. Yeah, see, he's come straight in through the side there. So I believe he's in an offside position. He has stopped it. The Bulls will be South African side. See his Pie Man. At the moment, they are ranked the highest in the URC standings. The Bulls, I think they are going to get the full 7 here and a yellow card alongside it for the Edinburgh team. I think they've just said whether or not it's over the line will be the determining factor. Peter Burling quit or sacked. By the sounds of it, he quit. I don't know what went on. Like, I don't really follow the sailing side of things. They're just showing there. Okay, the TMO is speaking in French, so I'm not too sure what he said, but he was short of the line at the time that he joined it, so I think this is going to be a penalty try. Yep, penalty try, and it will be a yellow card for Edinburgh. And that is going to be from Ross McCann. It will now be 14 on 14. So there is still maybe a late tail in this tape. Still another 33 minutes left in this matchup. But the rolling maul of the Bulls proving to almost be effective in terms of scoring. It did get its penalty try in the end, but Akafana Merva went down and just hit a whole heap of boots trying to find the grass. Like they've just said there, with both sides down to 14. Scottish commentator saying Edinburgh need to score quickly here. Just get that momentum away. Turning point for the Bulls. Says Jimbo, ref said, shut up, I'm the ref here. Says Spider Mick, nicely taken inside of the 22 by Zach Berger. Goes across to Johan Goosen to make its way on at halftime for Keegan Johannes. Now just a couple big decisions about to be made here from Edinburgh. How aggressive do they go? They are missing their winger. The Bulls, they are missing one of their forwards. Our referee is French, oui. Says Roof, and game is on now. Bulls, let's go. Only 17 points difference again, so similar to what we saw for the halftime score. Oh, bit of rush defence there from the Bulls and the counter ruck as well. And it comes back almost on their side. In fact, I don't know how Edinburgh have managed to keep that ball, as it looked like for certain that the Bulls were going to be able to take it back. Bradbury with the run again. Now, kicking it in behind. Ali Price takes it nicely for Kanan Moody, who has also made his way onto the field. That is for Sergio Peterson from his injury. Mako van Staden. The Bulls have pretty much emptied their bench at this point, just trying to find a new way of striking in this contest. Come on, the Bulls, another 3 tries will do. A little chip in behind, nicely taken by Kanan Moody, who goes for the grubber in behind again. Chasing this one hard is David Creel. Keeps the ball alive, kicks it in. And, that was it Stravino Jacobs, I think it was. Slips over, kicks the ball into touch. And now it's going to be the line out for Edinburgh, but a brilliant attacking play there. David Creel kicking that ball back, and then it's Stravino Jacobs just tried to pick that one up and slips over and puts himself into touch as well as the ball. The Bulls need Michael Jordan right now, mountain too high for the Bulls to climb. Says Spider Mick. Thing is though, right, it's only 3 tries in 32 minutes. Sounds like a massive mountain to climb, like you said, but, it's still, in some regards, within reach here. Just have to be clinical. And when they get the chance, it's definitely while playing up against 14. We're currently even in terms of numbers on the field, so just need to take that chance and make the most of it. Mako van Staden. Going to be on that right-hand side. That is just because of the yellow card. Only 7 men. And I will just here for a few minutes. Geez, I picked Edinburgh as winners in the poll. But I was just joking. 31-14, not good. This Tier 2 competition, I expected Bulls to be 31-14 up. And Bulls must learn that dreams don't come true, says Sebastian. Still 30 minutes left. Zach Berger has actually got the scrum feed here. They have said the initial knock-on was from Edinburgh. Get Rambo in, says Sam S. Now Berger going off to the right-hand side. Attack and run from Stravino Jacobs. 1 metre short of the try line. Berger goes back across, and Cameron Honeycomb scores it between the posts. And that is 2 tries for the Bulls within only about 3 or 4 minutes. And Taranaki Bulls unable to comment. Or unavailable to comment, says Blues Nate. Another big try there for the Bulls. The comeback has started. And they are looking to keep on going here. They will only be 10 points down when this kick goes over. And Rambo Says Sam S. and Stravino Jacobs. He will be very happy with that. He had a mistake just before. Luckily, it wasn't the first of the mistakes. So it did mean that they did at least have that scrum. Yes, the Bulls. Says Birdie V. Yeah, the Bulls look like they are not going down without a fight here. Yeah, very good pass from Zach Berger to find Cameron Heineken. That's better. Says Brian, game back on now. And just like that, they're back in it. Says Lilia B. Yeah, 10 points difference between these two sides, still with 30 minutes left. And Edinburgh slowly walk up to the halfway line, trying to kill the momentum that the Bulls have created throughout this first 10 minutes of the second half, even with that yellow card. Sounds like there are a few Bull supporters in the stands, though, with the amount of booing that we just heard from Edinburgh taking their time. Now Thompson kicks it deep, nicely taken by Marco van Staden. Maybe now the Bulls, who have got the possession. Bulls is going to win this game, says Ronaldo. One thing's for sure, compared to 10 minutes ago, they're certainly looking a lot more likely to. Johan Husse, maybe he's the difference maker in that 10 jersey. Marco van Staden. Kane and Moody also having a big break and run there. So I think it's just the changes that the Bulls have made have added quite a bit more to them. And come on, says Pieto Smith. Bulls in possession around the halfway line. Here comes Heineken again. 43 metres out. Zach Berger goes back across to the left-hand side. Nicely taken by Jan Hendrik Vessels. Sereno Jacobs sounds like he's the weakest link in the Bulls team. Yeah, he has a few bad moments, that is for sure. But he also, every once in a while, gets it right and can be extremely effective. Going back to the right-hand side again, little kick in behind here for the Bulls. Sits up for Kane and Moody. Needed to pass that to Honeycomb, but he decides to go himself. It doesn't look like it's going to cost the Bulls as they are still 5 metres out from the line. But it was almost a monumental error from Kane and Moody, who wanted the glory himself. 14 versus 14. This seems to be the Bulls' best chance. Counter ruck from Edinburgh, but Moody, and the penalty goes the way of Edinburgh. Right, now we can safely say Moody blew that opportunity for the Bulls. All he needed was the pass on the inside to Cameron Honeycomb, who would have gone through easy. I think Honeycomb's just given him a high five and said, next time, think about passing, mate, because I was there all day. Well, there come on the Bulls, another try. We see it there. All he needed, the pass, he was open. Honeycomb, and don't get me wrong, there's no guarantee he would have made his way over, but he sure as hell would have had a lot of momentum making his way towards the try line. And Honeycomb, give it to him, please, says Ruth. And now we are in it. Keep up the pressure, Bulls, says Nick. And come on the Bulls, says Aslan. And there as well. But Edinburgh managed to kick that ball into touch after winning that penalty. A stupid ass pass the ball, idiot, says Spider Mech. Yeah, little moments like that. You know, what type of impact could that have on the game? Not being altruistic, such a shortcoming, says Sebastian. That's a hard word to say. Dave Cherry, he has made his way onto the field. That is for Ewan Ashman, who had quite a good running game. Not so much the lineouts. They were a little bit more shaky here for Edinburgh, but Dave Cherry throwing it in, nicely claimed. Wilco lowers off the field. That is for Mornay Smith. And Edinburgh with Bradbury now just moving it outside of their 22. Being told to use it again here. Sit downfield, Ali Price. And under the high ball, well claimed by Kane, and Moody pins the ears back. This time he passes, but he was already in touch. So it will be another line out for Edinburgh. The crowd letting him know all about it too. Moody and Sasha likes to chase glory and forget about the team, says Albert. I struggle to read it too, says Lilia B. Altruistic, says Duncan. And the Bulls, says Antonia. Still 26 minutes. There is plenty of time for either of these sides to be able to get the victory, ladies and gents. The Bulls are 10 points behind. They are back to 15. Edinburgh for now are still playing with their 14 after giving away the penalty try yellow card. Ali Price again will send it to the sky. And Moody this time knocks it backwards. Zach Berger tries to sell a massive dummy. Almost goes through. Jamie Ritchie does get him. Bit of a counter ruck. The Bulls are being told to use it. This one doesn't look like it was coming out, but now it goes to Jan Hendrik Wessels, tackled by Pierre Schuurman. What's the correct pronunciation for Edinburgh? I've heard someone say Edinburgh, says Roger. I think it depends on where you're from and also what accent you say it with, because, you know, some accents kind of blend the letters. That's going to be a nice flick pass there from the big man, Sebastian. Ali Price back across to the right-hand side. Bit of space for Darcy Graham, the most that he's had throughout this contest, or at least in the second half. I just looked the final score for Blues Matatu. For the Blues, I got my hopes up, says Matthew. But now, ball is popped onto the side of the Bulls again. David Krell. Oh, big clean out on Hamish Watson. Taken down by Jan Hendrik Wessels. Across, tackling the wrong man with the ball. Now Husson passes to Kane and Moody. Can he make the right decision this time? Goes for the grubber in behind. Bradbury does very well to get back. And does manage to get the ball into touch. Husson just checking on him. Pretty heavy contact between the two. And I guess the Bulls you can win, says Ben. And this will be a Bulls line out now. Only about maybe 7 meters out from the line. This last 10 minutes has completely shifted this game. The Bulls still have the man advantage. But just a little bit more time. Edinburgh waiting to get back to 15. I thought Matatu won. Damn too much pipe. I couldn't see the scores, says Spider-Mick. Oh, hang on. I think they're going to be checking some sort of head contact that happened here. Or are they? Here's the TMO. Pierre Schuurman. Yeah, it's Kirsten again. He's hit him a little bit too high. He is a tall individual, so it makes it quite tricky for him. But, you know, as a guy who's already got a yellow card, like, it's a big risk. Oh, no. Number 7 for the Bulls. This could be his second yellow. Like I've said, he's just come back. That one, I feel like he's a little bit more hard done by. Pierre Schuurman was ducking down. There is head contact, but I don't think it warrants a yellow card this time. I think they might say penalty, but I'll be pretty disappointed to see that given as a yellow with how low Schuurman's head was. But there's a bit of contact. Not sure how they're going to rule this one. Nor Roof, I'm high. I'm talking Clinton when I'm high, says Spider-Mick. Possible draw, 31 each, says Roger. And if that is the case, then we do go to extra time. And then after that, we go to a goal kicking contest, similar to what we see in football for penalties. Okay, commentator has just said in his Scottish accent, has to be a yellow card. And if he is correct, means that Kirsten will be off the field for the rest of the game. And the Bulls will have a red card to their name. Right. It's a high tackle. Okay, because Pierre Schuurman is going down, it just stays as a penalty. Okay, the crowd are booing it as they've just found out what's happened. Ruan Nokia having a bit of a chat there with the referee. Has to be a yellow only. The thing is, he's already had a yellow card. Going on consistency, it looks like a yellow. The crowd are not going to be happy about it, but it means that it will still be the penalty for Edinburgh. That Kirsten will survive. And I think that now they have to take him off. They cannot risk him getting another yellow card. Sanity prevails, says Albert. Penalty goes to Edinburgh. Kirsten really needs to think about what he's doing here. The thing is, though, I don't know who else they have to replace him. I guess they could go Reniard Ludwig and have a little bit of a reshuffle. Okay, they've said there, the commentators anyway have said that it should be yellow. That ball has gone over the roof. And we have got there, good call. Some calls are ridiculous, man. Most are rugby incidents and good decisions, says Lilia B. And like a Scotland for the win, says Pieto. And there as well, but it will be the line out for Edinburgh. Of course, with that penalty, the Bulls lost their 5 or 10 metre line out. Will hurt them a little bit. Definitely if Edinburgh are able to score. I agree Kirsten is now a liability. And yeah, with that yellow card already to his name, that's a tackle in the air. So advantage goes the way of Edinburgh. And we'll go back for the penalty yet again. Will Edinburgh look for the 3 now, or will they go for the corner and look to cement this win? Floodgates will open soon, I agree. I know Kirsten very lucky, says Birdie V. Here as well. And yeah, if you are the Bulls, like, yes, he might be a good player, but I think you do have to take him off. The ref definitely let the Bulls off the hook there. If there wasn't the first yellow, that would definitely have been going on other decisions, says Brian. And yep, they have decided to take, wait, hang on. Nokia taken off the field for Ludwig. So they're willing to risk Kirsten here for the final 23 minutes. That could be a massive call. Definitely if he's even responsible for, let's say, repeat infringements just out from the line, he could be the guy who goes to the bin for his red here. Edinburgh throwing this one in, not taken cleanly, but it does bounce back into the hands of Ross Thompson. Now Ali Price tries to go through, low tackle for a Mako van Staden. 22 metres out from the line. Looks like it's going to be Javin Sebastian. Does play half. Yes, Skurman. All is there again for Ross McCann to play halfback. Edinburgh just trying to find their way through again here. Short ball off to Pierre Skurman again. Price going off to Gilchrist. Was able to score himself the try earlier on in the half and wouldn't mind another one here. Back across Price. Going there to Sebastian again. To the left-hand side, passing on the outside. Ball sits up for Zach Berger, but I think there was already an advantage in play, and it is the offside going against the Bulls. That could have been a breakaway try. Derivative players are going to match fee fine for poor discipline. Not that I know of. I know for the 7 side of things for New Zealand anyway, the women get, I think they lose 50% of their match fee if they give away a yellow card. I think that's something that the team decided, though, rather than the coaches and whatnot. Game is rigged. Snake White paid lots of dollars, says Pieto. Now, looks like they have actually opted to go for the 3 points here, Edinburgh. They've done a bit of quick maths and realised if they get 2 threes from here, it will take them up to 37, which would be outside of 2 converted tries. There was a long advantage, ref well. I'm off for a beer meet-up. Catch you later. Says Blessing. So enjoy your time out on the town. And damn, look at the time, Emmy. 1:09 a.m. already, says Spider-Mickey. Yeah, it's absolutely flying by. Next live stream that we are doing will be starting at 1:55 a.m. New Zealand time. That is between Munster and Bordeaux. So, of course, anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Now another chance to line it up. And the kick has gone over, making the score now 34 points to 21 after just about 60 minutes in this match. We're into the final quarter of the contest. Both teams are back to their full 15. We're seeing 3 tries from the Bulls, 4 tries from Edinburgh, but at the moment, the extra 6 points that they've managed to get from extra penalties could be the difference. All well taken by Edinburgh. Inside of his 22 was Jamie Ritchie. Rolling this one back for Ali Price. One more try from Edinburgh, and I would say they win this game. But one more try from the Bulls. This gets extremely interesting. Siding against taking the quick throw there for Kane and Moody down towards the halfway line. And 1:03 p.m. in Cape Town. And go to bed, Scotland, says Sam S. Now Johan Robillard. Need to throw this ball in, Hamish. Are you going at full speed ahead? Congrats, says Ruth. This one about to be thrown in again. Nicely taken. Zach Berger. Back across to the left-hand side. Big shot. Again does come in. Zach Berger goes to the left-hand side to David Creel. He hasn't really touched the ball a huge amount throughout the second half, and I think that might be one of the reasons why We haven't seen a huge amount of that Bulls attack. Come on, the Bulls make it a 1-pointer, 35-34, just 2 7-pointers. Turnover, though, this time for Edinburgh. Passing it out wide. Grant Gilchrist, beautiful pass to Ali Price. Now Skinner, tried to pass it on the inside. It might have been a knock-on from Johan Robillard. Referee does say, play on. Pierre Skurman goes across to Sebastian. Great hands from Edinburgh, popping it in behind now on the outside. One more time. Darcy Graham drops the ball. It's kicked forward by Zach Berger. And the advantage was already over. Hamish Watson, big shot on in by Marco Fanstanen. Unless, of course, the ref didn't actually call that as an advantage, which I think might have actually been the case. Turnover opportunity there for the Bulls, but just losing their footing in the process. Ali Price again goes back across to the right-hand side. Rush defense from Cameron Heineken. But again, they just didn't manage to get that steal. Now Dave Cherry. Stolen that time from the Bulls. But it is almost taken straight back from Edinburgh. Yes, it is, and that is something they've done multiple times, but it's taken back by the Bulls again. Now back across to the right, Kane and Moody. That looked close to Ford, and they will now go back for it. Moody, his first moment that he had in this game was actually a very good one. He got them about 60 metres down the park, but in this one, since then, he's just had a few too many errors. The choice not to pass to Honeycomb could have run in the try. Handling errors. Sneaking in there to Bulls try in the next 8 minutes, says Sam. That would make it very interesting for the final 10. Looks like Grant Gilchrist has a bit of a knee injury at the moment. But might still be able to continue. I believe they do still have the subbing option. Looks like Honeycomb has also taken a bit of a knock. A lot of players at the moment have been taking the big hits. 34 says Pieto Smith. Yeah, it should be actually. The scoreboard has not updated itself. There we go. Has now got the next one on. And go the Bulls, you can win, says Renner. Yeah, currently 13 points between these two teams. Both teams just having a little bit of a break here. It has been played fast-paced all throughout this game. We see the clapping from the crowd for Hamish Watson, who will make his way off. Nico has got the face palm in there as well. Already 7 tries have been scored from these two teams. The winner will face Bath or Gloucester. Did I follow you properly there? The Bulls stole it. Then Edinburgh stole it back, and then the Bulls stole it back for the forward pass. That is correct. Yeah, that was a really competitive breakdown. And honestly could have gone either way. We're probably lucky we got out of that breakdown without anyone getting penalised. Normally one of them would sneak in and the ref does rule against them, but it is going to be now the Edinburgh scrum just inside of Bulls territory. And come on, Waterboy, says Blues Nate. And there too. Ali Price to put this ball in. This game is actually going to be over the 2-hour mark by the looks of it. Means it is one of the longer ones around. Muncaster. He's made his way on. Jamie Ritchie wasn't even a part of the scrum, and the free kick goes the way of the Bulls. So Jamie Ritchie was on the far side getting his laces sorted. Referee says touch, and then he goes, hang on, I'm not even a part of the scrum. Can I join? So, yeah, a bit of a mistake there from Edinburgh. I think also a mistake from the ref, though, not realising that Ritchie wasn't on the far side. Now, Devin Williams. Wait, is that one allowed to find touch on the full? I thought that was a free kick from the referee. We see it there for Jamie Ritchie. Yeah, just ends up popping off the side. And then the knee goes straight down for Sebastian. Bulls need to score now. Yeah, this is their perfect chance. And Kitsenel in the chat with a new profile picture as well, I do see. Now, Johan Robillard. You're going to throw it in. Ray has just been put on the field. That is for Sebastian. That was not a straight throw from the Bulls. And their big chance has just been squandered. That was Johan Robillard. Hasn't managed to get that one straight. And now Edinburgh are going to have another opportunity at line-out time to get it, at scrum time to win it. 13 points difference. 2 converted tries, and the Bulls will take the lead. They've converted everything else that they have attempted throughout this game. So have Edinburgh, which has led to quite the entertaining fixture. As Dupont playing today, he's injured for another 4 or 5 months, if not longer, for Antoine Dupont. Too much movement at scrum time, says the ref, so we will have a reset again. I can walk miles for Antoine Dupont, says Ruth. Berg stands for mountain, from Scandinavian Berg. The Scandinavian pronunciation is a sharp, harsh egg. In English, it is softer E. Sound is an Edinburgh, I said that a bit weird, wasn't it? It's built on a mountain. It'd be a manager, says Jimbo. And I know Bulls on attack and lost it, says Birdie V. Yeah, it was their chance to be able to get back into it. This scrum has taken quite some time to get set. Compared to the last one, no stability whatsoever there, and Edinburgh get themselves the free kick this time. Come on, the Bulls, on your way back. Can you bring me a camel? Says Spider Mick. Ross Thompson, again with the chance, 34 points to 35 to the Bulls, says Piet. Still going for those 2 extra converted tries at the end. And come on, the Bulls, says Pieto and Rambo. Come on, the Bulls, says Sam. A lot of people still back in this away side, the Bulls. 15 minutes now remaining. Just how many points? Well, 14 would do it. Now, ball is going to be there again for this Bulls team. 40 metres out from Edinburgh's line. Zach Berger goes across to Robillard. It's going to be held up by 2 Edinburgh players. It's dragged down. And Edinburgh get the scrum. The Bulls not able to get it out of there. There's a pronunciation difference between Berg and Berg. And Berg is Afrikaans for mountain, and no English-speaking person can pronounce it correctly. Says Albert, and a point a minute for the Bulls. Says Roger. Yeah, just really well done from Edinburgh, getting in there, stopping the Bulls from being able to move anywhere with their rolling maul. Ended up dragging them down. Next game between will be Munster and also Bordeaux is only taking place in 40 minutes time now. There isn't going to be much of a break in between these 2 matches, which is great news. We will be transferring straight over to that next stream. Chance here for Ali Price. Another scrum. And the thing is, Edinburgh, as much as these scrums have been a bit 50-50, this time the Bulls get the penalty. What I was going to say is every time they happen, they're using up more time on the clock. And that's where Edinburgh's game management comes into it a little bit more. Kicking this one towards the touchline is Johan Hussein, and just 5 metres out. Fantastic kick. On that note, referee's walking back a little bit further. We'll be 10 metres out from the line now. We find ourselves in the position we were about 4 minutes ago when the Bulls had the line out from inside of the 22, and it was when we saw the not straight throw from Johan Robillard. And it came was like 300 kgs to 500 kgs. Says Matthew. Another chance to get this one right for Robillard. Come on now, Bulls, damn it. And this one is taken well. Rolling maul chance. And the penalty goes the way of Edinburgh for accidental offside in the line out. We have got there, let's go Bulls, says Birdie V. Like they've said, lifting him up and then sliding in behind the jumper. Something that you cannot afford to do. And unfortunately there, Reinhard Ludwig was the man. In fact, might be a knee injury here for Ross Thompson. And the commentator is actually saying that may be a bit hard done by for the Bulls in that scenario. Come on, the Bulls, says LFG. Yeah, from the side-on angle, it actually didn't look that bad. But they've said that he was penalised for obstruction of being in front of the jumper. And hello, Hamish, hope you're well. I still say South Africa teams should have stayed in Super Rugby. Was so much more exciting, says Andre. And Edinburgh says Joshua. What the hell, Bulls? Forget about it, says Roger. Looks like another change. Mosisi Tui Palotu has made his way onto the field. Now, Pierre Schoolman runs it straight at Cameron Hanekom. Down to 11.5 minutes left here. Oh, okay, there was a knock-on the ground. That was the TMO who got involved. We heard him there. He must have seen it early. And the Bulls, again, will have themselves the scrum fee. We've seen a lot of those as of lately, and I feel like the Bulls, once again, will go for that penalty at scrum time, work it towards the corner. This time, try and get that maul correct. Camel tastes delicious as well. Says Matthew. Right. 11 minutes left. Going to be a lot of pressure on this near side of the scrum where we see Darcy Ray. Ross Papier has also made his way onto the field for the Bulls. This is the business end of this matchup. Still down by 13. Ball is fed. A new advantage goes the way of the Bulls. Cameron Hanekom gets his offload away. Kanan Moody on the short side. 22 metres out with a flat pass. And still the advantage is in play for the Bulls. Johan Robala goes across there to Harold Foster. Had that massive breaking run early on. And since then, hasn't really been heavily involved. Kanan Moody tries to kick him behind. It was the wrong choice yet again. And they will go back for another penalty here. And we have could they play alternating gears? URC 1 and Super Rugby the next? Probably not. I don't think. I think that the URC would say, if we've got you locked in, we're locking you in. And a little bit the same with Super Rugby. Like, I don't think they'd let one side or four sides have that luxury of being able to just pick and choose which comp they're in. But now that kick has gone out for Johan Hurson. Didn't go too close to the corner. Didn't want to make the risk of it going dead. And the ref is making some silly calls, says just me. And Berg is a local area or neighbourhood community. Berg refers to a resident. Berg as an outcrop / mountain, says Duncan. I didn't realise there was going to be a full debate about Berg. I think about 3 or 4 of you guys are going for it. Back and forth now. Makafan's starting. Oh, he's held up again. So it becomes the maul, and Edinburgh trap it. And it becomes the scrum again. Throw straight now, FFS. Well, the thing is, they got the throw straight, but the line out, the rolling maul, Edinburgh have just shut it down every single time at the moment. Held him up well, and then Makofun started and got it to ground, but by the Pierre Schoolman had got in there too. It's now or never for the Bulls, says Ruth. And yeah, it's getting closer and closer to that full-time siren. I should quickly get that scoreboard to update. We'll shake it around a little bit. There we go. Currently 71.5 minutes through this matchup. Not a lot of time to work. For Edinburgh, every scrum uses up 30 valuable seconds. One more try would win it for them. One more penalty would win it for them too. But currently they can't get out of their own half. The Edinburgh will win, says Joshua. Another change. Carmichael makes his way on for Edinburgh. The number 19 jersey. And as for Sam Skinner, Grant Gilchrist looks like he's been through a few battles out there on the park, but he is still continuing. It's contractual. They sign up for and up years, I believe. So no, can't switch between them on a yearly basis, unfortunately. I don't think the ref understands what a maul is. Come on, please. Says just me, worst ref I've ever seen. Says LFG. Tell you what, there were some shockers in Super Rugby this weekend as well. So I think it must just be a weekend for it. Our ball has gone in for Edinburgh. Off to the left-hand side, short side for Ross McCann with not a lot of space between him and the touchline. The knees are down. It means that the Bulls this time have to release. Being told to use it again, Pierre Schoolman. Back across. Told to use it again. I'm going to make a peanut butter sandwich with hot coffee. See, here's Roof, kick downfield from Edinburgh, and it does go into touch. Lee Price will be a little bit of, I guess, nervousness about this Edinburgh side. The score stays the same till the end. And where are they on the field? Now it is going to be the line out for Johan Rubla and the Bulls. They will be about 35 metres out from Edinburgh's line, so they've struggled to get those extra metres that they need. Now another line-out chance here for Rubla. Goes in nicely. Ambroise Papier across to Harold Foster. The time is creeping away. 7.5 minutes left. Ball on the inside from Papier to Johan Rubla. All the subs for the Bulls currently linking up, including Hussein to Moody. Papier goes right. Cross to Jan-Hendrik Wessels. Every touch at the moment is going to a man who made his way onto the field, except for now Kirsten, a man who many thought would have made his way off for a second time. Jan-Hendrik Wessels. 7 minutes now. Hussein, short ball to Foster. Trying to get in the breakdown was Edinburgh, but unable to do so. Hussein now skip pass out wide. Goes to Stravino Jacobs and he's driven out. Again, this is brilliant defence at the moment from Edinburgh. They are just not letting this Bulls side through. As Nutella also in recovery. And Adido says a Blues Nate. And also the score stays the same till the end. Currently only about 15 metres out from the line here, Edinburgh. They will have the line out. Now, they have been quite shaky for both of these sides in this match. Looks like Wes Hussein has a bit of an injury here, but he is just trying to power through it. Be able to continue in this contest. Like I said, now or never. This one's not straight. And it will be the scrum now for the Bulls. Still late opportunity here. I do not blame the ref for your players losing. They are losing because they are not doing enough to win. Says Duncan. We will go like that. We will go like that as well. There we go. This is going to be a quite telling last 5 minutes. Both of these sides will be extremely fatigued, which is maybe why we're seeing so much more of the guys who came off the bench. I woke up. You can talk louder now. Says Revenge. Tell you what, if the Bulls score now, it will certainly be loud throughout that last 5 minutes in the stands. Refs in the NBA making terrible calls. What is going on? Says Blues Nate, but Ambroise Papier now puts the ball in again. The Bulls have been dominant at scrum time, or at least have tried to be, only having a few penalties going their way. Stravino Jacobs only 10 metres out from the line now. Short ball to Cameron Hanekom. Edinburgh, they have to defend this one just out from their try line. Close over the line for Reinhard Ludwig, and he is held up. And it will now be going back for the offside penalty in favour of the Bulls. I thought for a second it was going to be the goal line dropout when it's the Box International start. They are going to be playing in July. And your rugby IQ and memory is phenomenal, Hamish. How do you remember all players' names? So you got a list on the screen there, says Roger. I think it's just from doing so many of their games. You get used to seeing the players and you just kind of get used to it. Like normally about 3 or 4 games worth is all I need in terms of seeing the players to be able to really work out who's who. But then you just get used to, like some of these sides, we cover a lot of their games. Like the Bulls, we probably covered over 50 matches on the channel, if not maybe even more than that. So that's kind of helped a lot. Now only 5 metres out from the line now, around the side for the Bulls. There's only 4 minutes left, but that 4 minutes could be the difference. Just out. Oh, there's a TMO decision, and the try is scored by the Bulls. Oh, anyone have a link, please? Says Aloysius. Unfortunately, it's quite a hard game to be able to find, but the try has been awarded. And David Creel with the pick and go of all players. Someone fire this ref seriously. And he did get it just on the line. 3.5 minutes left. The Bulls are back within 7 if this kick goes over. And there's the big if for Johan Robillard. Did not take too long at all to strike it. And he does get it over. Now, that is a risk. Taking it so quickly, sometimes it can backfire. But in this case, it is not for Johan Hussein. Should now make the score 34-28 as it under the post. Not necessarily, it was off to the side. Probably about 25-metre kick for Johan Hussein. Now 3 minutes left on the clock and what is going to be a very exciting finish. Got to remember at halftime, the Bulls They were down by a bit of a substantial margin. How much time left? Only 3 minutes left on the clock and counting. Kicked off long by Edinburgh. Nicely taken by Cameron Heineken, though. The Bulls, they need a converted try. One try without the conversion will not do justice. A penalty for Edinburgh here. And if they kick it over, they would win it. Can they do it? The thing is, they believe they can. Johan Husson kicks it downfield. Edinburgh waiting for their ball to bounce. Awkward one. Still can't regather, but where's Husson now? Has managed to claim it. 2.5 minutes left now. The Bulls looking for the steal. Ali Price. There is no way they can hang on to this ball for long enough with pick and goes from inside of their 22. And Ali Price realizes that, will now kick it towards the sideline. Looks like Vez Husson is a little bit wobbly as he was making his way back to the field, or back to his feet, I should say. Kicked into touch. Do they go quickly? They decide against it, the Bulls. That is a big decision. I think they were considering it there, Devin Williams. Nail-biter of game now. Let's go, Bulls, says Matthew. Yeah, coming right down to the wire between these two teams. Not exciting at all, says Jimbo. But now, Edinburgh, the crowd are chanting for them. This is their big moment. The Bulls have got the line out, though, around the halfway line. 90 seconds left. Where are they on the field? Around the halfway line. It looks like there is a bit of a stoppage at the moment for one of the Bulls players staying down. It looks like Cameron Heineken just getting a little bit of water poured on the side of his head. That was due to a bit of blood that was coming out earlier on. Looks like he's going to be all right to continue. Can't complain. Said needs to be close. Yeah, it's been the ideal game, really, in terms of both sides have had a great chance of winning, and someone is going to. The thing is, it could come down to a kick for the Bulls to be able to win this if they do manage to score, or Edinburgh. I'll be honest, momentum the way that it has been, I wouldn't be surprised if we see an Edinburgh penalty within the next 60 seconds. It might not be what a lot of people want to see, but just from the way that it's been going, you just feel like that might be what happens. But the rolling maul of the Bulls going forward nicely. Advantage in favour of the Bulls here as well. Edinburgh trying to push them into touch. But they will have the penalty advantage with 60 seconds now left on the clock. Johan Husson passes it out wide. Ideally, they want to score it between the posts if they can. Stravino Jacobs. The question also is, how long will this penalty advantage be? They've already made about 20 metres. Maybe a bit less. Devin Williams goes across to the side. Harold Foster, short ball to Moody. He knocks it on, but they will go back for the penalty in favour of the Bulls. Personnel, with 3 minutes left, Bulls should not have kicked it, says Sean. I think that they still had to play a little bit of territory, though. They knew they'd still get chances, in which they have got here after the penalty is awarded. Now, of course, this is not the URC. Being within 7 points does not get you anything. In knockout rugby, you have to score and convert if you are the Bulls to win it. Devin Williams kicks it towards the sideline, does get it out. Will be about 20 metres out from the line. I had to work hard. Edinburgh, good game, says Blues Nate, and it is not done yet. We are up to 81 minutes. Well, at least it is on that clock. We're up to 80 on the actual match one. We are about to have the full-time siren. Oh, had to wait to not play JF Van Heeren in the air. Once again, the rolling maul of the Bulls. It's gone down. Was it sacked by Edinburgh? In fact, it's still going. Now they've managed to close it out. The ball comes out the back door, though, for the Bulls. That was almost a scenario that we've seen about 4 times in this match already, which involved them being able to stop the maul in its tracks and win themselves the scrum. But now 80.5 minutes through. Devin Williams goes across to Cameron Heineken. It's going to be a finish and a half for a spot up against Bath or Gloucester in the semi-final of the Challenge Cup. One of the Edinburgh players staying down there. I thought he might have been knocked out over the ball now for Edinburgh, and they win the penalty. It wasn't quite within the 60 seconds, but it was within the 2 minutes that they were able to get it. Pierre Schoeman causes heartbreak for the Bulls. And extreme excitement for Edinburgh as they make their way through to the semi-final. Bulls says Piet, come on, the Bulls says Barry, and Yescu says Pedro there. and they will take the tap, kick the ball into touch, and they win it by 6. But the Bulls, very valiant challenge to Edinburgh here after being down 21 points to 7. They came back into it. That yellow card of Edinburgh was costly. The Bulls never quite gave up, but they were defeated in the end by the 6 points. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. A weak first half cost the Bulls. Exactly right. If they had scored one more try in that first half, I think they would have been a lot closer to getting the victory there. And thanks, Amy says, Sucker Bull, and great game, says Patrick. And also, we have got Turf, definitely played a factor, nevertheless. Respect to Edinburgh, says Tonian. And also, great effort, but not to be, says Lilia B. in there as well. So, the Bulls, they made it further than any other South African side in the Challenge or Champions Cup, but their run has come to an end. Now, all the South African teams, they will be firmly focused on one goal, taking out the United Rugby Championship. But Edinburgh, they will still also have that same goal, 8th at the moment on the standings. They made it to the top 4 of the Challenge Cup, so they will have games later on that they do have to partake in. Those will count as rest weeks for the SA sides, so could that also be a factor for the later stages? But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Next live stream, we are starting in 19 minutes' time, and that will be the contest taking place between, will be Bordeaux and Munster. I do thank you all very much for being here, and I will see you all for the next one.